Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 19 of Absent Minded Podcast on this October 7th, 2019. Slow down.
He came in there kind of fast.
We got things to do. It's late. We got to get it done.
We got to record.
It's not that late.
It's late.
It's not that much normal.
It's 6:30. You said this last time. We typically were trying to get start recording by 5:30 or 6 at the latest. And the last couple times it's been late.
Yeah, it has been. The last couple times you guys haven't been leaving here till almost 9.
Yeah.
The foods, man.
Yeah.
And burgers.
We got another episode to record after this, so we just got to get into it.
Yep.
My name's Travis Stockton. I'm your host, as usual, at Ray Charlazard on the Instagrams and the Twitters. And with me, as always, is Ethan Newbolt.
Hey, how's it going?
At Souls Bjorn.
That's me.
And Andrew Crandall.
Hey there, guys.
At Andrew Loves Video Games. And you guys know the deal. Each and every Monday we get together. We talk. Well, on Monday we get together. You don't hear it until Friday. We talk about the latest video game industry news and all the things that are going on. Today we got a little something special because we saw Joker.
Oh yeah,
this weekend,
just like everybody
faster
else.
I thought than we were going to. Yeah, apparently it did really good.
Yeah, it did.
But we'll talk about that later. We'll give you spoiler warnings too. We're not going to talk any spoilers without letting you know because I don't want to.
Later we will
because we care about.
No, that's what I said. I'll give them a spoiler warning.
Yeah.
We're not going to jump right into. Oh man, that was crazy when Batman killed Joaquin Phoenix at the end of the movie. That was nuts,
dude.
Spoilers. As always, you can head over to absentmindedpodcast.com where you can always find the latest episodes of the main show, like this one you're listening to right now.
Yep.
And our side series, Absent Minded Watches, where we've been watching and reviewing all the different video game films that ever hit theaters. You can also go there to leave us a voice message with a question, comment, or a topic of discussion that you maybe want us to talk about, and then we might even play on the air. Or you can also donate $1, $5, or $10 via the listener support program there as well. So, guys, this is week number 2 where I put a spot for what have we been playing, and 2 people put something in, and 1 person doesn't.
I didn't have a chance to. Yeah, no, sorry.
Did you play anything this week? Anything different than normal?
I play lots of stuff, lots of weeks.
Well, we're talking about this week. This
Told
past
you,
week
I played that new Gundam game. I played.
What's the name of the Gundam game?
It's Gundam Battle Operations 2.
Well, if
we
you're
talked about that before we started the
Also-
episode, so it doesn't count that we haven't talked about it on the show.
Also,
yet.
how come Drew gets to use Apex Season 3 but not me?
You could have said that too.
I always play
There's
that.
no exclusivity here.
I always play that. Dibs.
But yeah, Travis, so you've been playing Destiny 2. How are you liking it on PC?
It's a whole nother
Ball game
for sure.
Yeah.
I had to do some research into mouse DPI settings and shit because I was just I could not get a comfortable setting playing on this game.
Either sluggish, slow, or just bolted.
No, it was always way too fast. I don't know what was happening. I could drop it to the lowest sensitivities and I'm still why am I moving so fast?
Did you try messing with your in-mouse settings?
Oh, I fixed it. Yeah, okay. I realized since the last time I reset my computer, I didn't install my mouse drivers.
Oh,
so
right.
the software that lets me control my DPI and everything
needed to be updated and everything.
Needed to fix all that.
Right.
But
Amateur.
yeah, it is. It's really, really fun on PC. It's going to be hard for me to ever go back and play it on console, I think, now that I've seen the light.
Because
most games, it's the typical, of course, it's double the frame rate. That's fine. But so many modern FPS games on consoles and stuff, they're at least targeting 60 already. So it's not the hugest leap. It's just it's a more stable 60 or you get the high frame rates. Because I don't care too much I don't need anything to be higher than 60 FPS, even though Drew and I both have the high frame rate monitors where we hit 165 or whatever if the game can push it.
Yeah, usually whenever I'm running Overwatch, I'm hitting 100 to 120.
Yeah, but if I was to go in and cap that to 60,
right,
that's still fine.
Right. It's not going to bug you.
Yeah, I'm not cranking down settings to the lowest of the low to try to squeeze out all the
I will say sometimes whenever I'm doing high refresh rate gaming and then I go back to a 60 or a 30 game, I'm whoa.
It doesn't bother me too much, but this was just one where because on consoles, Destiny 2 is locked at 30. And, which is already kind of low for a current gen FPS in general, just compared to all the Call of Duties hit 60, the Battlefield games I'll try to hit 60.
Yeah, that's one thing I remember even from the first Destiny. It felt a little sluggish.
Yeah. And it's fine because they have it's still Bungie doing the game. It's industry leading gunplay and the auto aim and aim smoothing and stuff on consoles always has been really good, but it's definitely one though that that's a big enough gap, especially for a game like this, that it really makes it feel like a Twitch shooter now.
Really?
Which is like
It's like
my
something like
genre
Quake,
of
yeah.
FPS games. Yeah, like Quake and Counter-Strike and things like that.
I remember whenever it first coming out on PC and whenever it was still on Blizzard. I remember, trying it out, and even just being impressed. Like, damn, this thing runs smooth.
Yeah, and it's a gorgeous game still.
Yeah,
and there's always a greater appreciation when you're seeing something that's high resolution and then it's on a monitor that's inches from your face versus like even if you
sitting
have a big
back on the
TV,
couch or something. Yeah,
it's far enough away, and especially my eyesight's not perfect.
Right.
So like having it pushed up to my face, I'm just like, God damn. Everything's so all the
see
textures are so
everything.
fucking sharp, even compared to other games.
look at
like,
the particle effects.
just the way the game is designed.
Well, I'm sure with a game like Destiny, the particle effects on PC have to look like amazing.
Yeah, even just like raw textures and stuff. Like you're walking around and like the tower, and just like the shit on the floor and everything is just, even for similar games of like that AAA budget, it holds its own. And
I
the
would
lighting in
say like
Destiny's
the
always
only
been
time
great.
you ever are into like that kind of level of detail was when you were talking about Deus Ex, like what is it?
Oh, Mankind Divided?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, it's just tons and tons and tons of detail everywhere. The other big thing on switching to Destiny 2 on PC is the load times are gone. That's obviously typically a bigger change when you
Go to PC.
have like an SSD on a good computer and
Right.
stuff.
Were
Like
there
load times are
were there
always
hidden load times that I don't remember?
well,
for Destiny 2.
yeah.
I mean, just like
Destiny in
you
general,
see
I
your ship and you're
remember-
going to another planet or something.
That's
Yeah.
what it
And you
was.
sit on
the
that
shit.
screen, and sometimes
sometimes
we're like
it would be a while.
loading into a match, and we're just like, all right,
Yep.
guys.
Yeah,
like,
I remember.
I'm gonna.
Yeah.
I think
Now I
I have
remember.
time to like make a cup of coffee and
Right,
like,
yeah.
and
I'm gonna go make a
finally
drink,
you load
yeah.
in. And you're like, I know I can go do something and come back and make it in time for the match to start. Whereas now you barely have any time to appreciate that cool skin on your ship. Like you never get to see it now.
Yeah, it's just like shoot, match start.
And then even
Good.
things like just opening your inventory. Maybe it's been a while since you played it, but you open your inventory and it kind of has to
been.
load in the items.
Oh,
and
right,
Has
yeah.
been a while.
everything's a little circle.
Now it's just like
spinny
there.
circle, and now it's instant.
Spinny circle.
Because remember with well, Ethan, I don't think you would. You didn't play Destiny 1.
Nope.
But in Destiny 1, you had to like sometimes go in and use the ammo packs to
Yeah.
like you replenish your ammo quickly, like heavy ammo or
yeah,
whatever.
special ammo.
None of that is in Destiny 2, but
Uh-huh.
there's still plenty of instances where you could be in a raid or something and you need to switch from one set of equipment to another fast.
right.
And it's just not possible to do that in boss fights on
On console,
a lot,
yeah.
because if you are not looking at the screen for a couple seconds, you're going to die.
Yeah.
Whereas on
It-
PC, you can, it's like the speedrunner playthroughs and stuff where like you could hop into a menu, you know exactly what key to press, and within a second, you're back in the game with like a whole new loadout all of a sudden.
Yeah.
You just can't do that on the consoles because it's just that old 5400 RPM hard drive trying to do its best.
Yeah.
But yeah, it runs incredibly well. I got a real internal struggle right now with whether or not I'm going to buy Shadowkeep. Because again, if I play it on PC, I have to buy that and Forsaken.
So what have you? What parts have you been playing? Just like catching up, kind of.
I mostly was just playing Crucible, jumping in and like playing those matches and stuff. Because that's what really I've been itching
Gambit's still
for.
in there.
Yeah, Gambit. There's a new Gambit mode called Gambit Prime.
Nice.
Also, which is kind of like a
What's Gambit again?
Gambit is like the PvE VP mode. So
Oh, right. I forgot they added that.
you
Yeah.
spend most of it fighting like AI enemies and stuff.
Yeah.
To earn enough points to
Open your
like
gate.
fuck up the like
And
your
then the
opposing
trolls
team
go
stuff.
through the gate,
Yeah,
and then
and there's moments where you can go through this like warp thing into your opponent's area and fight them, and it's a very cool gameplay mode. I wish it didn't take so long because it could be like 15 to 20 minutes sometimes.
or it can be really quick.
Sometimes, yeah.
sometimes
if-
where they just
if
know what
your
they're
team
doing.
sucks,
yeah.
or they're just like super coordinated. It can go very fast, but it even then though, like if a match is done in 5, it's a best out of 3. So it's just compared to like a Crucible match, there's a lot more of a time commitment in
Right,
Gambit
okay.
for the reward, and you're getting similar rewards. Yeah, it's really good. I don't know right away. I might just wait for a sale when I see like a really good deal where I can get both expansions for like $40 or something. But
How much are they both individually?
so they dropped Forsaken down to 25,
Okay.
and then Shadowkeep is 40. But if you buy the Shadowkeep Deluxe Edition,
Then it comes
it's
with-
60. I think it comes with both.
Yeah.
And then also all of the next 4 season passes. Because instead of the annual pass model that they adopted for the last year, they're going to do more of like a like a season pass like
yeah.
these other games like the Apex and Rainbow Six and all that stuff. And I've read a lot that's kind of to its detriment as far as the amount of story that is in Shadowkeep, that the campaign is fairly short and it ends on like a big cliffhanger, because the idea is like if you have the deluxe edition, you'll just get a couple more story missions in like 2 months or so or something. And they're going to continue to do that throughout the year. But that also means that if you just buy base Shadowkeep, then you're expected to buy each season pass like a battle pass in Apex each time it comes up if you want to continue the story. Yeah, you better. We'll see, though. From what I've seen and what I've been reading from the community, like the monetization seems fair. There hasn't been any big...
Nothing too egregious.
No shitty articles that have come out where just like, Bungie's fucking its fans or anything like that shit
Bungie's
you saw
got
when...
full pay to win.
Nothing you saw when like Destiny 2 first came out and everything, but... I'm probably going to keep it installed just because I really enjoy Crucible. I know it's kind of hit or miss for a lot of people, but I could, as well as it runs and as enjoyable as it is, that could just be my new...
I'm sure you're doing a lot better.
I want to hop in and play some multiplayer or something. No, I'm garbage at Crucible right now. Like I said, it's so different. Okay. It's so twitchy, and like I'm still not like super used to using everything. I have to figure out if I want to keep the default key mappings or not, because... Again, I'm not playing with a gamepad. I'm on a keyboard, and you've got like 2 special abilities, a special grenade, and ultimate, like all this other shit all like mapped to your keyboard.
Yeah, that's why I always like the number pad mouses for those type of games.
I hate your stupid numpad mouse. But Drew, you've been playing Apex Season 3. Still enjoying that?
Yeah, I'm actually like playing ranked this season.
I started that.
Yeah,
Drew went pro.
I started him on
going
that.
pro, guys. Yeah,
because again, like
Twitch.tv/Angelo's video games.
You're gonna play the same, ranked versus unranked, probably. I don't necessarily try harder either one. Do you?
No, not really.
That's why when you asked me like to play the other night, and you're like, by the way, we're playing ranked. I was like, why? Because it doesn't matter to either of us. So like, we're just gonna
you get
paired with other people
for
that care.
Yeah, I kind of like the rewards.
You get charms for ranked, which are very like. Not everybody's going to have them, like unlike the skins or something.
And it makes me feel good knowing that I'm better than Ethan.
He is very much better. Like
I'm sad because you play so much more than he does.
much more, but like the score speaks for it by how much faster Drew ranks up than me.
Plus, I'm pretty sure y'all are both garbage because we played a couple times, and I was like, I'm not doing that much worse than either of you two.
Oh, no, yeah. I think straight hot shit.
I think at the rate Drew levels up is actually pretty decent for a player. So,
well, okay. Even like yesterday, Ethan and I were playing, and we got a win, and I got 5 kills. Ethan got 0.
I got but the other guy we played with killed 14.
What? You got down like twice, right?
Yes, I think so. Twice. Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah, but then like the other guy, our third got like 14 kills. So
Jesus, my pack mule that was carrying me up the mountain,
carrying us both.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
But yeah, I've been enjoying it. I still like the new map. It's I like the color palette. Looks incredible to me.
Yeah, it does. I will say that. Like the new map's definitely visually interesting.
Yeah, lava, ice. It's a big suburban area.
I joke like the big Final
Toilets
Fantasy
for some reason.
Ice thing in the middle.
So there's just weird rooms at the top that have toilets in them, and I get it. There's also maybe there were people
toilets with no doors, by the way.
Yeah, maybe they're like.
Maybe they close behind you if you like in universe, or maybe it doesn't work anymore because it's like I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know
because they're all frozen.
They have toilets.
I need more toilet lore in my Apex.
Definitely,
that's what I'm missing.
But yeah, enjoying that, and I finished Oxenfree, which was really good, and just looking forward to After Party whenever it comes out.
Fuck yeah!
And then I started getting back into Dragon Quest 11, like Sure, anybody that plays RPGs or JRPGs, you just get that fatigue of it from time to time, and you just, put it down.
Only if you're a coward.
Yeah, I guess I'm a coward. Whatever, fuck it, I don't care.
I'm like 45 hours into 3 houses. I had to make myself put it down the other night because I got to the end of part 1, and I was like, oh shit, if I start part 2 right now, I'm committing to like another 4 hours, and it's like 2 a.m. already. I need to go to bed.
I remember why I stopped playing because I got to a boss fight, and then I died, and I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna not play this right now. And then I picked it up just now after a few months, and then I did what I loved about these games was I just sat there and I grinded.
Yeah.
And then put about another solid 8 hours into it, I think. And I've gotten progressed. I think I'm maybe about 35% of the way through, I want to say. But it's great, loving it. The more in depth it gets, the more I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
And I streamed Yakuza Zero on, what was it, Saturday we went to go see Joker?
Yes.
That game is great. It's fucking fantastic. It's goofy. I was beating the shit out of people while breakdancing. It was amazing.
Yeah, because you've been playing more of a Majima.
I just finished his chapter 4. Just finished, so now I'm back to Kiryu. One thing, like you said about Fire Emblem, you're like, I can't start this because it's gonna drag me in again.
Yeah,
that shit happened to me in Yakuza because I had like 30 minutes left before you guys were gonna get here to pick me up to go see the movie, and it got to a point where I was like, okay, I'll go do this next mission. It can't be too long. And then it turned out to be like another 35 minute long mission. And by the end of it, I was just getting frustrated because like it was this point where you were Majima and you had to escort this girl around, and like there were roaming gangs around the city that you had to like avoid. It had this weird stealth mechanic that just didn't work.
You
to
like
me.
hide behind a corner and stuff.
You had to like Assassin's Creed it and like hide in a crowd.
Yeah.
But like the people like never walked by. They just stayed in the same place, and it was pointless because I literally
the
had
idea
to.
is they wander because they're on AI patterns.
Yeah,
people
yeah,
they're
yeah.
looking for you, so they wander down the street. They look around for a second, then they go back the other way.
Yeah,
and
but
then
they
you can move
they
through.
never gave you a chance to like get past them. They always.
It wasn't that hard. I remember that section.
I hated it.
It's fine.
I had to fight like every single one. You can even go. It's archived on Twitch how angry I got. But yeah, enjoying it. Ethan,
Tell us all about this.
I have
mobile
never
Gundam
played
game.
that mission. No, I'm sorry. What have I been playing?
yeah.
Oh yeah, just Apex with you. A lot of Apex Season 3 with you. It's a lot of crypto. It's good.
Yeah, you've been enjoying crypto a whole lot.
He's just another tracker like Bloodhound, which is my main. So
Yeah, that's
I think
true.
so. But
How do you feel? Well, like, do you still feel? Because I remember when we were talking
Yes.
about it, about his drone ability. Do you still feel like?
yeah, I still feel like they should tweak it.
Yeah, like he should like. Because for those who don't know, Crypto's drone ability, you hit L1.
You hit L1 and you immediately like it loads and you go into the drone.
Yeah, and you can fly it around and
Yeah.
everything like that. Ethan made a good point that he says that it should be like you hit L1 and it sends the drone out.
just where you are. Like,
Yeah.
Just to do its little circle motion and scout for you, like say.
Yeah, because there was one time we were playing and you used your stupid drone, and I was like, I was so far away from you that the drone, like, you couldn't go that
Yes.
far with it.
Yeah.
So you'd wasted all that time trying to recon nearby me,
There's no way
just to
there.
have to like have not made any
Yeah, yeah,
forward
yeah.
progress on the map. And I'm like, I'm still dead. Like,
Yes. Yeah,
you
so
still have to go
it's
back
got
and-
its flaws, and I think it should just if you double tap L1 or whatever, it just scouts right there where you want it, and you can just run away from it, recall it.
I was
and
thinking
whatever.
about like
Doesn't that make it too much like a Bloodborne or a Bloodhound, where it's like you could do your little
Yeah, but whereas Bloodhound is
sight
like
thing.
temporary because it goes, you just do it once and it's done.
Yeah.
This can stay and scout, at the bottom of a floor or something, or
yeah, because I think that's probably what they're dealing with is like, how do we make it
different
not just
from
like a better version? Like now, no one's gonna want to play Bloodhound because like this is the way to do. What's Crypto's ultimate?
so it's like an
Technically,
EMP drone
Yeah, it's like an EMP from the drone, but the drone has to be out
to use it.
to use it.
Okay,
So, and you can like leave it as a trap, which would again be easier if you could double tap it out just where you want it
Yeah.
as like a mine. And then if somebody comes close to you or around it, you use your ultimate and it sends like an EMP, which is not immediate either. You have to like, it charges up and then it does it. Yeah.
I thought it was immediate.
Nah, because I tried to do it by some people and it doesn't break their shield right away.
Okay.
It's a slow process, and then by the end, it's broken halfway, I think is what it does.
Yeah, but it also can take out like devices. Like I
Yes.
remember, so it can take out like
Watson's-
Gibraltar's shield
yeah,
or
Watson's.
Watson's anti.
can you shoot down
grenade
Crypto's
thing.
drone?
Very
Yes.
easily.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like one.
It's like a one-hit shot. Yeah.
so not very dangerous at all. But I still like him. He's definitely one of the cooler looking, just basic.
Yeah,
his
I
model
like his
is-
design a
is
whole
pretty
lot.
dope.
I don't like the way he talks to my boy Mirage in the cinematic.
I like it. And then I downloaded Gundam Battle Operation 2 because it was free, and I like Gundam. It's one of my many things that I really like. And I played like an hour of it, and it was fun. It's kind of a multiplayer, one of those like battle. It's basically like a battle thing of Gundams. Like, but you go into this hub world with like your level above your head, and you see everybody else, and it's one of those things.
Yeah.
But the Gundam fight was cool. Swords, beam swords,
Beam
felt
swords.
good.
Swords and guns and yeah.
Pink beam swords. That's always a good. Yeah, I don't know. It was fun.
You enjoyed your
Played
hour with it.
played it for an hour. It was free, and there was more people playing than I thought. And
That's all you can hope for with
pretty
a
much.
free-to-play game.
yeah, and I think that's about it. Battlefront. I've been playing a little bit of Battlefront. I think I've been talking.
You not
about
tired
this.
of that yet?
I mean, I did delete it. I have since deleted it because it's one of those things where I played it enough back then. I got my fill of it, and I get to enjoy all the fruits of my leveled up playing.
See, that's what I'm
now.
saying. Why not just leave it installed, and then every once in a while when you want to jump in,
Because
you
it
don't have to plan
it
for it.
downloads so quickly. I can just download it really quick.
I mean, do you even need the space?
No, he doesn't.
no,
he doesn't
not at
have
all.
He doesn't own any games.
I like having the free space on there though. I could probably fit every game I own on my bar. Even not every downloaded one, but yeah.
I give him shit for it all the time because I'm like, hey man, you want to jump in? Oh, delete that.
Like what? Like what?
Probably the Destiny 2. I think was probably the last big one where it's like, hey,
I don't want to play that.
play Destiny 2. Well, I don't want to play with you either.
Yeah, I know. Fucking Division 2 showed us that.
No, I do want to get back on the Division grind. I kind of missed that
No,
game.
We're like so far behind now. Well, you may not be. You actually kept going with it a little bit more.
That's the
than
beauty
I
of those
did.
games is the further you get behind, the quicker it is to catch back up to
Yeah,
where
I guess
you were.
so. You just
where,
have to
what was the wall
get a couple,
before
yeah.
is easier to
The walls
surpass now.
are smaller now. Yeah, because you just have to get a couple of good pieces of equipment that are probably easily dropped now.
And I'm
Exactly.
excited for the DLC that they're going to come out for it. I like the one where you go find Aaron Keener.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure. Yeah.
Speaking of DLC that just came out, it's time for another game of What's the Score?
What's the score? Can you help? I don't know. I tried to improvise a song. It didn't work.
Now, Ethan, you might have a fair shot at this week, assuming you both, one, try, and two,
I always try.
think about it before you say a number.
No, gut instinct. Boom.
So our first one, of course, Destiny 2 Shadowkeep expansion just came out this last week. I didn't have it on there because this is one of those games the reviews are in progress because it's all multiplayer and stuff. But there's 11 reviews up on OpenCritic. I think that's enough
Yeah,
for,
that's fair.
for playing the game.
Sure.
Plus,
I have
this is
literally
a-
heard nothing about Shadowkeep, so this is going to
except
be
for what I told you.
it's going to be a shot in the dark.
Yeah. So
Is that our first one?
yeah, Destiny 2
Are we
Shadowkeep is our first
Are we
one.
going with the critics and the user?
If you think you know the critics recommended, if you think you got a good guess, you can throw that one in there for bonus points. Okay. But top critic average, the average Metacritic number, so 1 out of 100 or 1 to 100, what you think it might be. Of course, this came out on PS4, Xbox One, and PC on October 1st. Developer is Bungie. It's an expansion pack for Destiny 2, which everyone's heard of. Quick description is new nightmares have emerged from the shadows of our moon, called forth by haunting visions. Eris Morn has returned. You don't know her, Ethan. She's spooky.
Sounds like a bitch.
She's very Halloween-y.
Is she the one that has like all like the black stuff? Was she?
Yeah, her like eyes have been burnt out because she like lived underground on the moon with the hive for
And then she
years.
peeked out, and it was just like, oh, God.
Join her to slay these nightmares before they reach out beyond the moon to cast humanity back into an age of darkness. Features, new missions and quests, new destination and dungeon, new weapons and gear to earn.
Wait,
and
does it-
all new raid
Is it singular?
and more.
It's all singular? Like dungeon and...
New destination and dungeon. Because the new destination is the moon, which really it's not too new.
I forget that that's how they do
Because
things.
like 90% of
Okay.
the map is literally just ported from Destiny 1's moon.
Oh, that's
But
so
that'll be nice because
sad.
With
people
some, like,
like
new
nostalgia, right?
Yeah, and it's funny too because you think this would have came out a little quicker considering how many things here are just like super asset flippy. And then of course with New Light, remember the way you start a new character now is it's literally just the opening section to of Destiny 1.
Yeah.
All right, so Open Critic, 1 of 100. Drew, what do you got?
I'm gonna say 80.
80?
Yeah.
So pretty well received. Mm-hmm. It's pretty good. That's up there. That means that's a lot of 9s out of 10s, and not many people that rated it like lower than an 8.
But yeah, I'm gonna say 80.
Remember, this is an average. Okay.
Yeah.
Ethan?
Yes.
Drew said 80. What do you got?
Was this critics or...
Total
I'm sorry.
average.
I'm sorry,
average.
I was not listening.
Just the Open Critic score.
For Recon... Or no, for Shadowkeep.
Yeah.
Sorry. Getting back into what we were talking about. Sorry. It was exciting.
Drew said 80.
78.
78?
Yeah.
Okay. 69.
Oh,
wow, I wanted to go
Damn.
lower.
9.
I wanted to go lower, but I
Damn.
didn't think I should.
Okay.
Well, you're closest without going
Damn.
over, so you're
Yeah.
good. Oh, well, no, you both went over.
Yeah, we both went over.
On Price is Right rules, you both suck. But we'll go with, you were closer.
Nice.
Yeah, because, here, I'll read a little blurb. Let's see what we got here from Phil Hornshaw at GameSpot. Shadowkeep's Return to the Moon provides the usual quick story and new activities, but it's the many under the hood changes that really shine. But I think in general, a lot of people just kind of gave it shit because, like I said, it had that cliffhanger ending. The campaign itself is kind of short. There's
It's
not a
just
whole
like
lot
you
of-
said, it's like 90% of the old moon.
Yeah, and a lot of this expansion is
it
built
really
around like the things that
90%?
will be coming out in the future.
Right.
That's what I heard from like Dato, I think, or Dato. I don't know how he says it, but he's like a very prominent Destiny lore streamer and everything. Next up, we got Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint. I'm surprised that neither of y'all have heard too much about this. I won't spoil anything, but
I told you I watched 2 videos on it.
oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this came out October 4th on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Published by Ubisoft, developed by Ubisoft. Become a ghost, an elite U.S. Special Operations soldier as you fight to survive against your brothers who have turned against you. Put yourself in the shoes of a Spec Ops soldier stranded behind enemy lines as you explore the massive open world. Create your own playstyle with a huge variety of classes, weapons, and equipment. Maintain all of your progress and rewards however you play, from solo to co-op or even PvP.
It's got the Punisher in it. It's got the
John Bernthal.
the guy from The Walking Dead.
Yeah, you got a dog in this one.
Oh.
Oh, was that his dog?
It's that guy in Baby Driver.
I don't know. He showed up with a dog on stage.
He's like the main. He's like the main
guy.
protagonist turned antagonist because his government done him wrong.
Ethan, we'll go with you this time. This is 41 critic reviews. So we got a lot more reviewers on this one.
And this is an average of those.
yeah. Where do you think everyone's sitting on?
I'm gonna go
this?
82. I think
82.
this was pretty good actually. From what I've heard, I saw Dr. Disrespect playing a bunch of it.
You can't trust people like Doc because they're those are the
He is
guys
very
that are,
harsh on games when it's not good.
or unless
His
like
stream
depends
wasn't
on how much someone's paying him to
his
play it.
stream wasn't working.
He's an influencer
Yes,
streamer.
but his stream wasn't working like properly. He was like, "Fuck this sponsored stream." He shut it down. He's pretty high up there. He doesn't really care much about the money, but he looked like he was having fun.
It's all about the money.
This is all
Whatever.
wrong.
Anyway, I'm gonna say 82. I'm gonna say it's solid. Yeah.
I'm going to go 70.
70,
Yeah.
58.
Ouch.
Everything I've read is that this game is broken as fuck
Really?
right now.
Really?
Broken how?
Probably
Let's see.
bugs.
Rick Lane and
graphic
PC
glitches.
Gamer. Poorly stapled on mechanics and a general lack of polish make Breakpoint's open world tactics simply not worth the time.
That's one of those things you experience when you play it and not just watch it, I guess.
Games Radar Plus, 2.5 out of 5 stars. Despite hewing, H-E-W-I-N-G, despite Huey, close to its predecessor, Ghost Recon Breakpoint feels like a step backwards for the franchise with mechanics that he said hew twice, that hew too close to its open world cousins. I've read it's like riddled with microtransactions and shit, and it's just like super buggy. It's harder to
Damn.
play it solo than the previous one because I don't think they even give you
I was
the
watching
option of
multiplayer
AI
videos.
components.
I was watching people with full groups too. They were
Yeah.
friends playing. So
Yeah, and that's one of those games too where it really does depend. Like if you've got 3 other idiots that want to spend $60 on another shitty,
they were having fun
Game
just doing
like this.
stupid dumb shit. So
I
I
mean,
guess
I had Wildlands on PC.
I guess it's
I
just
played it for a little bit,
perspective.
but yeah, I never
Yeah.
really went back to it.
yeah, I remember we played the
That's
beta.
funny.
And within 30 minutes, I was like, "This is not for me."
you played
Right.
the beta for this.
Not for this. The
Oh,
last
okay.
Wildlands.
Got
yeah.
it.
Next up, we got
Damn.
the sequel to the just okay Ukulele
How did this get a sequel?
and the Impossible Lair. Probably because it's fairly cheap to develop. There was a lot of
Wasn't
people were
it a
pretty happy
Kickstarter
about it.
game?
I think it was originally, yeah. This is
this
of course
one,
the
the previous.
spiritual successor to the Banjo Kazooie
Yes.
series. I believe
Rest in peace,
developers Playtonic Games and Team 17. I believe some
He's
of them
alive
were.
in Smash.
I believe some of these
No,
people
rest in
were
peace,
from Rare, the same team that did Banjo Kazooie back in the day. This came out on October 8th on everything: PC, Switch, Xbox One, and PS4.
Wait, that's tomorrow.
You're right.
So soon to coming out.
We're time traveling. They're gonna hear this on Friday. It's already up.
Sure.
Yuka and Laylee are back in a brand new platform hybrid adventure. They must run, jump, and roll their way through a series of challenging 2D levels, face a puzzling overworld, and rally the Royal Battalion to take down Capital B and the Impossible Lair.
Wait, so it's 2D now?
Which one's Yuka and which one's the Laylee?
I think Yuka's the the gecko or whatever it is.
Chameleon.
Chameleon.
Let's see.
And the other one's a bat, right? It's a little bat. What is
Oh
it?
yeah, this one is more like a 2.5D.
Oh, that
It's
might
not
be
like a-
It's like a side scroller, right?
Yeah, it's not a full. Well, I see some other screenshots.
so
that are
more
like,
like Donkey Kong.
there's some top-down aspects of it on some of them. It looks like each level's got, but they're all like that 2.5D kind of thing.
Neat.
Yeah, more like a Donkey Kong, less like a Banjo-Kazooie.
Nice. Maybe that will work in their favor.
Maybe. Yeah, because everything I read about the first one was it wasn't bad. It was
Mediocre.
just nothing like
Just,
nothing
yeah.
that jumped out. There
It was
just
no
like,
knack.
Yeah, it didn't quite capture the
magic
Banjo
of-
Kazooie
yeah.
magic
Right.
as much as it tried. So, Drew, what are we thinking for this one?
Like, so both of us went over last time. I want to go
I
low,
went way
but
over.
something tells me you're trying to trick me.
I've tried. I went alphabetically, man. On
I
these.
think you're trying to.
I literally went alphabetical. Well, not quite.
Oh,
Ghostbusters,
not at all.
I don't remember what went.
Not at all.
It was almost alphabetical until Ghostbusters.
It's not even reverse alphabetical.
Destiny, Ghost Recon, Ukulele, Ghostbusters. It's
But Tom is the first word. It's
you
T
don't say
Y
it's
G.
even Tom Clancy comes before Ukulele anyway. He is still before Y.
Right, but I'm saying it's
63.
not in even. Never mind.
63. All right.
What kind of reaction was that?
I was just like, what? Just because you were super wrong before doesn't mean you have to be super wrong every
The
time.
last
but-
one was like 50 something. I would have never guessed that. I don't even think you make a game if that's what you're shooting for.
I don't think anyone shoots to make a fifth. Like a,
I guess you're right. 70.
70?
Yeah.
81.
God damn it!
79% of critics recommended this game.
Fuck.
I think its simplicity kind of helped in its favor
So
a
the
lot.
going
Yeah.
backwards a little bit with the retroness kind of helped.
Yeah, David Jagno over at IGN. Ukulele and the Impossible Lair brings the dynamic duo down to a 2.5D perspective to deliver one of the best platformers we've seen in years.
Wow.
Polygon's Colin
wait.
Campbell.
I apologize. So it's more like a Hollow Knight kind of.
No.
With that kind of that's 2.5D. There's a lot of
2.5D just means it's like a 2D style of a game, but it's still like 3D,
3D.
assets and
Yeah.
stuff.
I need to see some screenshots. I'm sorry.
You remember Mega Man 11 that just came out?
Fuck no. Yes, yes. I do.
That's
That's like-
2.5D.
So that's it.
Bloodstained,
That is
Ritual
Hollow
of the
Knight,
Night.
yeah, definitely.
Or whatever.
That's all very Hollow Knight-ish. Yeah. So
Then I guess so. I haven't played a whole lot of Hollow Knights. I don't know. Polygon's Colin Campbell. On the whole, Ukulele and the Impossible Lair is a carefully designed platformer game that rewards repeat play and trial and
whole.
error.
nice, good for them. And did you know it confirmed that is like some people involved with Rare? Because that's
Oh yeah.
the only part of it I care about, honestly.
Yeah, that was the big deal with that game is they wanted to go
Good.
back and make that kind of game again, but then
Good
obviously
for-
didn't do great. So now they switched to 2.5D for the next one.
Good. Smart move.
Good for them.
Yeah.
Now
Whoever
our next one,
made that decision should get a raise.
Ghostbusters, the video game remastered.
Really want to play this.
I actually saw like the trailer for it, and I was like, "This kind of looks fun."
Dan Aykroyd.
Do y'all
sold
remember
it to
anything
me.
about this game
Not
when it
a
came
damn
out?
thing.
So this game was was basically Ghostbusters 3
Really?
when it came out last gen. That's how it was
Okay.
pitched. Dan Aykroyd, fucking
Bill Murray.
Bill Murray. I was like, I wanted to say Ben Stiller. I'm like, shut up, stupid brain. They voiced their characters in this, I
Which they
believe-
don't really do. Like
Not
they're not
anymore,
huge Ghostbuster stuff because
Yeah.
when the reboot movie they did not really want involvement in that very
Yeah, I think
much.
Bill Murray had like a small. I think
Dan
they both
Aykroyd-
had like small.
they all-
Dan
cameos.
Aykroyd
They all
does.
had a small cameo. in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they do. Yeah,
but
all of them?
Well, not all
Yeah.
of them because some of them are dead.
Yeah.
But
Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd do. Yes.
yeah, but yeah, this was
And-
fairly
and
well received at the time.
the other guy.
They helped write it and everything. So
Cool. Yeah, I do kind of want to play this. Is it like cheap or is it like a $60 game?
Well, let's play the game and then we'll figure it out.
How would playing the game
You gotta
figure
buy
out
the
the
game before you
price?
play
I meant the game we're playing right now.
Oh, well, I don't tell you the price in these.
Because I want it. Because again, if it's like $60, probably won't buy it. But if
I
it's
don't
like
think it's going to be 60.
it's like $39.99.
I bet you it's probably more in the $35 to $40 range.
$39.99.
$30 at GameStop.
Hell,
Boom.
$29.99.
I have to go to GameStop.
No,
That's
I'm
right.
sure-
They,
I'm sure you
they
can-
got discounted game shirts right now.
MSRP, so I'm sure that's just what it costs everywhere.
Since they're going out of business, they got discounted merchandise right now. Free good shirts,
Let's
cheap
see,
shirts.
what's Epic Games selling?
I watched that
Cheap
walkthrough of
hats,
the
too.
new,
That's the
new
French
store
store.
design. It looks kind of cool.
Anyway, yeah, this came out October 4th. Again, all the big consoles, PS4, Xbox One, PC, and Switch. The beloved and critically acclaimed Ghostbusters video game is back and remastered. Strap on your proton pack once again and join the Ghostbusters on the adventure with the voice and likeness of the original crew as you battle to save New York. Authentic Ghostbusters experience. The game features the voices and in-game likenesses of Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis. Ramis? Yeah.
Remus?
And Ernie Hudson in an original story penned by the writers of the original films, Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis.
Wow. And that's Egon, right?
Yes.
Now, Ethan.
Yep.
What are we thinking?
88.
88. Okay.
I'm thinking our boys did us right with this one.
78.
But I don't know.
71.
Damn. Fuck!
I think this would help if I taught you the scale again, Ethan. I don't know if you know
what do you mean? It's an average. I know what it means.
80. Well, I mean, as far as how most reviewers review games,
I'm hoping these things are
is
good.
really, really high.
I was hoping it's good. Because I'm wrong doesn't mean I don't understand the scaling.
You just never know. I don't know.
I get it.
Let's
I know
see.
what an average. I know how to get a mean. Like it's okay. I know what a median is. There's probably a range. I know what that is too.
So the highest scoring games of this year so far.
Don't fucking spout your number facts to me.
Resident Evil 2 and Final Fantasy 14 Shadowbringers.
Oh, that's such a good one.
Both of those are sitting at 92.
Hell yeah, they are. Wow, that really makes me want to go back and play fucking Shadowbringers.
Now, last year, 2018, the highest scoring game was Red Dead Redemption 2, sitting at 97.
Again, get your facts and your fucking numbers out of here.
Has there ever been 100?
Probably not.
On Open Critic, I don't think so, because there's
so many.
You could have the best game in the world. It's literally perfect.
But you could.
Someone's going to write a 6 out of 10.
Because it could always be better technically.
Well, there's always going to be that one dude who comes out and is like, click on my website. See why I said it's only 6 out of 10.
This is the worst game of the year, and here's why.
In 2017, the highest rated game on Open Critic was Super Mario Odyssey.
Fucking say?
97. Some of this is for other people.
That's interesting.
Okay, Ethan, I know that you know this already, or don't care, or are an expert. In 2016, Uncharted 4, A Thief's End, and The Witcher 3, Wild Hunt, Blood and Wine expansion were both 92.
I never got to
reference.
that expansion, unfortunately.
88 for a fucking Ghostbusters game.
I was really high. I had high hopes.
I don't know. 71's still not bad. Like,
It's not bad.
yeah.
Still makes me want to get it.
Still be down
71's
to
like
check it out,
average
yeah.
in most people's
still makes me wanna get it.
scales.
Yeah.
Most of those reviewers.
Yep.
7 out of 10.
$30 at GameStop. You said that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's probably why it's rated so high. In fact, that it's only fucking $30.
Yeah, if it was a $60 game, I don't think it would be 70.
All right, guys, you know what time it is.
Time for the news.
What time is it?
It's time for some news.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is actually 7:10. If you want to actually know what time it was,
Oh, okay. But I didn't. But that's good to know, I guess.
it's official. Red Dead Redemption 2 is coming to PC November 5th.
Woo! For those who want it.
Sooner than I think any of us expected. This is from Rockstar
Yeah, that is. Yeah, because they hadn't really
What? I'm
made any
coming to
announcement on it
PC?
or anything.
Hot damn.
Today, we're proud to announce that Red Dead Redemption 2 is coming to PC on November 5th, with special bonuses available to players who pre-purchase through the Rockstar Games launcher starting October 9th. The first game in the Red Dead Redemption series to be featured on the PC platform. Red Dead Redemption 2 for PC features a range of graphical and technical enhancements for increased immersion, along with new bounty hunting missions, gang hideouts, weapons, and more. So that particularly is a little interesting because Rockstar's already confirmed there's no DLC coming to the single player mode.
But here
We
they
talked
are
about that last
adding new
week.
stuff.
But yeah, now they're saying, but there's what would technically work as DLC that's just new content for the PC version. That the way this reads is not coming to the console version. So
Yeah.
we'll see if that changes, but that's a little interesting. And then, of course, Red Dead Online is going to be included with this as well. You get some bonuses for pre-purchasing, blah, blah, blah. I would not have assumed that this was coming out so soon. I kind of thought that they were going to pull what they did with GTA 5, where they just wait till the new consoles come out, put the remaster for PS5 and
that one on
Xbox
PC.
next or whatever,
Yeah.
and then PC around the same time or sometime after. This kind of came out of nowhere. Like I think we put a couple of posts not long ago where I think that we covered that, someone had dug through some files on the console version and saw that there were mentions of a PC build within some config files
Right.
that the data miners are finding and shit. Mm-hmm. You have to be an idiot to not think that they hadn't been working on this for a while, but just the fact that, it's October 7th today.
Yeah.
This is coming out in less than a month. that's just very fast.
Yeah, that's almost pretty much like a year after console release, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because that was the big game last year.
Yep.
Around fall, so it'll be maybe right around a year when it's actually out.
Have you beaten Red Dead 2 yet?
No, I'm sorry, I have not.
He was trying to get through it. I think he stopped again.
Yeah, what happened to your streams?
I kind of hit, personal stuff gets in the way. Life, man. Life finds a way. But
That personal stuff being called World of Warcraft Classic and Apex Legends Season 3.
But no, I do kind of want to get back into it because, like, at the end of the day, Red Dead Redemption 2, regardless of anything, is a great game. It's so well done, and they took
definitely an achievement for sure.
They took so much attention to the detail of every little thing. Like I said, the side missions are just as engaging and
yeah, that's what you were talking to me about in the car the other day, where you were just like, I swear I was just going to do critical path stuff, and then you hear some lady screaming and you walk off to go save her and ride her back to town, and before you know it, it's been an hour, and I'm like sucking the blood out of, or venom out of some dude's leg.
If you've ever seen a stream of mine, which you probably haven't, but that's okay. I love you still.
Twitch.tv/SoulsBeyond.
I said I was going to just stick to story missions, straight laser focused.
Yeah.
Just get it done, knock it out quick. Boom, in and out. I can delete the game from my bar, never play it again.
And I recall saying I don't believe it.
Yeah.
Before you did, I was like, I don't know if it's going to work like that.
And then I'm trying to do that, and I'm going, to the next mission point, because some of the main missions kind of change, camps or whatever.
Yeah.
And again, Travis said, you hear a lady just scream bloody murder. Because she's probably getting murdered. And you can't
getting mauled by a bear.
You can't just ignore, help! Help!
Oh, I do it all the time.
Fucking no! I'm trying to get my max good honor out here,
okay.
That's
very middle of the road playing that game.
I gave up trying to get max honor in that game when I never could figure out the controls and kept holding people up or shooting somebody when I was.
Oh yeah, there's one. I was
like, I just want to say hi to you, and then I just fucking popped your hat off.
Stream where I'm like,
I'm sorry, dude.
Let's take a stagecoach to fucking somewhere, and I roll up in this guy. I just punch him in the face, and he goes down, and I'm like, well, guess I'm not getting a stagecoach.
Or anytime I go, or anytime I run into a post office and the door just slams open, and I'm like, oh shit,
startled as shit. That's the number one thing I'm looking forward to the PC version. Is God, I can remap the controls. I don't have to have the talk button be the
shoot button
gun button like in every other game or some shit.
I don't know. Like I said in our Slack, I'm excited to see the Digital Foundry video on this, going into the graphical enhancements.
Yeah,
and
I'm
everything.
sure they'll have a big tech breakdown for the improvements on the PC side. And
I'm surprised they didn't mention ray tracing or anything in this.
I'm not, because as big and beautiful as these games have been in the past, they haven't been the type to have a bunch of NVIDIA bells and whistles graphical effects. Like when GTA 5 came out, it was good. It's a good open world game, but it's not full of oh, here's also NVIDIA's smoke technology and volumetric fog only available on GTX 1080. They don't do that kind of stuff usually, partly because when you're a company like Rockstar and you're selling the amount of units as they are, they don't need to do a marketing deal with NVIDIA to sell more graphics cards.
It's not
get a kickback from
a control thing.
Yeah,
people know Rockstar, they know GTA.
Yeah,
they're in.
Yeah, and those are pretty games too, but they've never really been groundbreaking from a graphical standpoint. Mm-hmm. It's more the things that you can do in this world,
right?
Whereas Remedy Entertainment, they've always been when Max Payne came out, that was such a big deal for these third person. They invented bullet time.
That's right. Yeah.
When Alan Wake came out, it was lighting in games did not look the way that it did in Alan Wake.
I remember,
was such a big deal at the time. And then of course now Control, the benchmark for ray tracing reflections and lighting and shadows and stuff. They do things in that game with ray tracing where it's every other game has been able to pick, oh, I can do one of those. And Control's you can do every fucking thing. If you can throw a graphics card powerful enough to do this, you can do it.
Yeah.
And Red Dead's going to look great, but it's not going to be. It's not going to, I don't think ray tracing something they do right now. Maybe down the line they have an update where it's hey, we're working on this because, this is the test bed for the next gen consoles for sure.
Yeah.
They're making sure it scales up high enough. Mm-hmm. And then when these next systems come out, they'll probably have a version that comes out on there.
Just like they did with GTA.
Yeah. We know those consoles are going to have ray tracing abilities of some sort. We don't know a whole lot, but we know they both have dedicated ray tracing hardware in the next PlayStation and the next Xbox. So maybe that's how they do it. Like, oh, Red Dead Redemption 2, and here's what we're doing with ray tracing on this version, and then also we're pushing an update for PC.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point.
But Ethan, I know you're just like freaking the fuck out
Man,
there.
I got some breaking news.
What's the breaking news?
So, just as I previously predicted, because I am the master of Apex, even if Andrew's better than me.
Oh, it's Apex breaking news?
Yes. So, as I previously saw in one of the badges, there is a event. It was Halloween themed because the name of the event was Fright or Flight, I think is what it was.
I thought it was Fight or Fright.
Hold on.
So the breaking news is there's going to be a Halloween
Fight
event
or
for Apex.
Fright collection event. Yes.
That's not breaking news.
It's breaking
Everyone-
because it just broke.
It's a free to play game with seasons and seasonal content. Of course, there's a fucking Halloween mode coming.
Are you going to tell me
it
Overwatch
just
has a
broke.
Halloween mode?
I don't
too?
know. I don't fucking play Overwatch because
The way you like ejaculated across the room just now while I was talking about Red Dead, I expected a bigger story than Halloween.
This is exciting for me,
coming to Apex.
for Drew, and I'm excited because
You
it
were
comes,
literally over there going, "Oh my god!" Like,
Yeah,
your face
because
was
it
exploding.
comes-
And
Yeah, even whenever he like showed the phone and I saw it, I was just like, "Oh yeah, I've heard about that." I knew
It
that was
also
coming.
comes with
heard
a
it from Drew.
new
Not
match
that big a deal.
that has a new play mode that's completely different from what we've previously had. But I guess you don't care about that.
No, go ahead. You're already talking about it.
All right, good. So apparently there's going to be a new match in Kings Canyon. We're going back retro to the old Kings Canyon, but it's going to be at nighttime.
the old Kings, you mean like the first
The
map?
first map?
The
It's
first
only-
map, the old Kings Canyon. Yeah,
It's
and
only
it's
been
going to
not-
be.
like,
Is it the
not new for
dinosaur
2 weeks.
version or is it the?
That doesn't actually say. I assume it's the last one that they had.
It's gonna be big spooky skeletons now.
Well, yeah, it's going to be
Big walking skeletons.
It's called Shadowfall, and apparently it's going to be nighttime in Kings Canyon.
Okay.
And
Game
there's
changer.
there's a
Yep.
little thing about where
Revolutionary.
so if you are downed, the matches start you and 34 other solo players.
Is it solo? Okay.
Yeah, which is smaller than the normal group. This
Yeah.
is 34. So this is about half, a little more than half of what it usually is.
Yeah, because it's 60?
64.
64.
Yeah. So it's 30 people less. Once you die, you will join the Shadow Squad, and you're basically a zombie. You have increased movement speed. You have increased jump speed, and then a brutal melee attack is what it says. But you have no abilities, no weapons, nothing like. You're basically a zombie. But you have infinite respawns. So if you die, you come back again, and you get to wreck shit up until like 10 people are left. Legends, I mean. And then they win the game, I guess, because they have to go to a drop evac ship and get out of there.
Just like Titanfall.
So,
Good stuff.
so yeah, this is completely different from what they've done before in their events. They're obviously trying to step it up a little bit each time.
Yeah, I will admit that's more interesting to just here's some
Yes,
Halloween
if it was
skins.
just the skins in the event, I would have been like, no, I'm not going to bring this up. But once I read the actual event,
When's Apex getting a Lucio ball? That's what I want to know.
so
When are we getting some soccer in Apex?
So a new event that much like the the shotguns and snipers, we're getting a
In the
change.
solo mode,
Yeah,
yeah.
we're getting a little bit of change of pace, which is always fun. And this is something completely new. So looking forward to it.
hot and damn. Well, that's Ethan with the breaking news wire.
I'm out.
Appreciate you. I'm very excited about this.
Brain Age? Hell
Me
yeah.
too.
Nintendo is
Yeah.
bringing back Brain Age for the Nintendo Switch.
I played a lot of Brain Age on my DS.
Yep, this is from Michael McWhirter.
Give this to your
over at Polygon.
kids.
Nintendo is
Yes,
bringing
give
back
this to your kids for sure.
Make 'em
the brain.
smarter.
Give it to your grandmas.
Yeah.
Nintendo is bringing back the Brain Age series for Nintendo Switch. Nintendo Japan announced today a new entry in the Brain Teaser series known as Brain Age Nintendo Switch Training in Japan on Monday. The new Brain Age will include some Switch exclusive features, including the ability to play mini games using the infrared sensor camera on the right Joy-Con controller, which presumably won't be on the Switch Lite version.
Yeah, that's right.
Players can play games of rock, paper, scissors, or do simple arithmetic by holding up the correct number of fingers in view of the IR sensor, as seen in the announcement video above.
That's cool.
Which we are watching, but that you cannot. You could always Google it, though, if you know Japanese. Classic Brain games will also be part of the package, including quick math-based games and kanji training using a stylus for the Nintendo Switch. The Switch version will also have competitive counting games and other new features like an alarm to schedule training, email-based summaries of training, and online leaderboards. Brain Age was fucking cool on the DS.
Yes,
I
it
really
was.
enjoyed that.
I remember when it came out. It was it
was like
that was
WarioWare
actually
for
like a
smart people.
revolutionary
Yeah,
game.
basically.
Yeah, I remember that's kind of like what popularized Sudoku almost.
Maybe
At least for me.
digital.
At least for me.
Okay, I was
Maybe
like,
digital Sudoku, but I mean, there are lots of people that carry around those big ass
I
Sudoku
never
books.
really- No,
one of
I
the
never
first
really
games I
seen
bought on my
anybody-
PS3 was a Sudoku game.
Really?
On PS3.
I mean, I don't argue. I'm just saying
It
like,
was cheap, and it's one of the few things I could afford. Because
Yeah.
I think I've told you all that story where I bought my PS3 and I spent so much money on it that I
You
couldn't
couldn't have
afford
any-
games.
yeah.
So it's like, oh shit, I played demos and buying Sudoku for like $10.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Brain Age is gonna be cool. I'm glad that's coming back. What was the other? I'm trying to think. Maybe just a second Brain Age game that.
Yeah, there was a few
there's
of them
more
on the
than one.
DS.
oh yeah, no, they had a couple of like I don't know if you call those sequels, but they were like different iterations because they had like a Mathnasium one, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's cool. That's the weird Nintendo. I
Definitely
like.
gonna pick it up. Yeah.
I like the
Oh,
Labo
wait, I
size
forgot.
of
We
Nintendo.
never talked about
like,
this, I guess, but did y'all actually watch that Ring Fit Adventure video?
No, I didn't see the anybody
the real deal
explaining
trailer?
it. No.
Worth
No.
watching just because of how creepy the announcers are. Actually, you should pull that up real quick if you can find it. Y'all saw the teaser though, right? Where it's a bunch of people like doing
Yeah,
the
yeah,
things
yeah.
with the ring, and then there was an actual trailer for what the game is.
What's it called again?
Ring Fit Adventure.
That's a dumb name.
I think that's what it is.
Could have done better.
Yeah, so it's a Switch only. You get like this weird. I mean, this is the game, but you gotta find the one with the actual announcer because he's like, they're scary.
what's the thing on the-
I haven't muted.
Oh, it's the one. Actually, it's in the middle of the screen with the dude in the blue, right below that one. Like I said, you just need to see their faces.
Can you go into more detail?
Oh, okay.
What is the thing on their leg?
Yeah, so you have a ring that you hold, and then another
so
one
dumb.
that's like it's essentially a strap that you slide your Joy-Con in.
Uh-huh.
And
That's what it is. It's Joy-Con. Okay.
yeah, that's your Joy-Con. Yeah. It's
And there's another Joy-Con on the top of it. I see.
yeah.
Okay.
Basically, you can do. It's an RPG where you play.
Oh my
this,
god, his
this character.
smile.
Yeah.
What? It's a perfectly B-roll smile. I don't know what you're
No,
talking
the
about.
way he was looking at her just a second ago was creepy.
They're on so much coke right now.
I know. Oh, no. Look at this.
They're temporary.
Look at that fucking smile. Look at that.
He looks like he cannot wait to
He's
eat
excited.
the skin off of her face.
He's
know,
excited
right?
to talk. Okay.
When they both take off their human
don't know
suits
why you guys
and get
are-
to feast on the bodies of the people they inhabited. That's what his fucking
Why you
face
guys
looks
are
like.
giving this guy such a hard fucking time?
Anyway, yeah, so it's this RPG and it has different like physical activities that you do like to
it's an
to
RPG?
make your character run. You run in place,
Yeah.
and that's what the strap on your leg is for.
Okay.
And if you like jog faster or slower, it's the difference between like a nice
How fast
jostle
your
or
character
a
moves.
jaunt
Yeah.
versus like her sprinting. And then in the battle, because it's a turn-based battle system or whatever, you do different movements on the either on this thing or with the ring.
Yeah.
Whether it's like a crunch or like just like the bicycle kicks or whatever. And they translate into attacks on the game. And then the more accurate you are or the faster you do them, the more damage you do to your enemies.
Right.
It looks pretty simple, but it's a cool way of working in like the RPG mechanics of like leveling up and damage meters and stuff while also working in
Yeah.
some method of exercising
Working
and stuff
out,
like
yeah.
that. It's basically just like the evolution of Wii Fit, I guess, because there's also a whole other section of the game that's not like the RPG game where you can just go and do these different
mini games
activities, the
kind of
mini
things,
games
yeah.
themselves. Yeah, if you haven't seen this, go look up Ring Fit Adventure reveal trailer. It's very interesting. The reason I thought about that was because we were talking about Brain Age, and it made me think of the vitality sensor that they tried to do with the Wii. It was like this thing you put on your finger, and it could detect your heart rate while you're playing
really?
different games and stuff. It's weird. Next up, this is from GameIndustry.biz by Brendan Sinclair. Gearbox and its former lawyer agree to drop lawsuits. So we talked about this a little bit last week about the lawyer that had been working for Gearbox before and voiced Claptrap.
I thought he was like an accountant.
I don't know. I mean, it's covered here. Gearbox Software has one legal battle off its plate. As reported by Business Insider, the Borderlands 3 studio and its CEO, Randy Pitchford, reached an agreement with their former legal counsel, Wade Callender,
Okay.
yesterday to drop their lawsuits against one another. In a joint statement accompanying their filing for dismissal, Callender, Pitchford, and Gearbox said, quote, upon review of all evidence in the case, it was of the opinion of counsel that the evidence exonerated Randy Pitchford from the allegations against him. All misunderstandings between the parties have been corrected and apologies were exchanged. Because the parties are mutually bound by confidentiality, no additional statements will be forthcoming. All claims were dismissed with prejudice, meaning the parties are unable to refile those claims later on. Callender made a discrimination claim with the Texas Workforce Commission's Civil Rights Division last October, accusing Pitchford of discriminating against him because of his Christian faith. 10 days later, Gearbox sued Callender for fraud and breach of fiduciary duty, saying he reneged on more than $300,000 in loans the studio had given him and abusing a company credit card for personal expenses. Callender filed his own suit against the company in December, accusing Pitchford of breaking verbal promises and pocketing a $12 million advance on royalties that should have gone to the studio's employees. Callender's suit also accused Pitchford of leaving an unsecured USB drive with sensitive company information and, quote, Pitchford's personal collection of underage porn, end quote, at a Medieval Times restaurant in Dallas, and of hosting peacock parties at his house where men exposed themselves to minors. That was a weird thing about this when this first came out, the whole underage porn thing.
Well, I mean,
I
then
think
like
that was
Randy
just a way to
came
try to
out-
like smear him a little bit while they were doing these proceedings. Yeah, and Randy came out and was just like,
Hey,
she's not
no, this is,
underage.
like, barely
it's this
legal.
hot cam girl that I follow a lot and like link to her Twitch or her
My Cam
Cam
or something
Girls
like
or
that,
some
yeah.
website or something. Yeah, she's like, she streams here, like it's just her. Like, so still kind of like odd and embarrassing, but yeah, like clearly not anyone underage.
Clearly, he's
or
not
anything.
that embarrassed about it.
Interesting that he feels the need to store them on a flash drive and then just
with
like
company data.
yeah, leaves it. And
At a
it was so
medieval
funny that
fucking
it was found in
times.
medieval times. That's the best part.
I've driven past that medieval
It probably
times.
fell out of his pocket. Like,
I think I went to that medieval times when I was living in Dallas. If only I knew I could have run into Randy Pitchford and gotten some scripts for some voice acting of
Yeah.
the next Borderlands, and it wasn't me. I'm silenced.
fucking phone is that?
I think I'm silenced.
I'm silenced too.
It was me.
Apparently
my bad.
not.
I don't know. We can't prove it was anybody. Oh shit! I did want to look up this. The Browns are playing right now. 0-7 against the 49ers. They'll pick it up. They'll get there. They'll get there. This all happened because I had to move my phone to protect it from the water.
That I
Drew
did not
almost spilled.
spill.
Your phone wasn't
I
silenced.
did not
then.
spill.
Well, so
And
if it's
that is
upside
a-
down
that
on the
is a
table,
move.
It
it's
goes into silent mode?
It's in do not disturb mode. It's a new feature because it can detect that it's upside down and
Just make that up.
oh, I swear to God, Android 10, bro. Android 10. I got that Pixel life. Next up, another Gearbox story. SAG-AFTRA dismisses Gearbox's stance in the Borderlands 3 Union Row. So we touched on this a little last week when we were talking about Troy Baker
Yeah.
and him not playing Rice
In Borderlands
or Rise,
3,
not
yeah.
Rice, sorry. RHYS, Ethan. Not RICE. Yeah, he was going to, because he originally played a character, Rise, in Tales from the Borderlands, the Telltale series. There was like a spin-off for the
Yeah.
Borderlands games.
I think Hardwick was a character in there as
I
well.
think he was, yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of those characters, like, it's almost like if you give a shit about the story in Borderlands games, which who does?
Right.
It's almost
one's
like
in
it's
there.
a necessary part of it. It's like one of those Game Boy Advance Kingdom Hearts games. Like it plays a lot into Borderlands 3, so a lot of those characters reappear here.
Mm-hmm.
And Troy Baker's was the main character in that game, but he didn't come back. We talked about how he said it was because they wouldn't pay him because he was a union actor. But then Ashley Birch, she's in the same union as him, but she still voiced Tiny Tina in Borderlands 3. So people were like, well, they could have worked with some union actors. So the story was just kind of weird.
Yeah.
But now we have some responses from SAG-AFTRA. The Actors Union, SAG-AFTRA, which I believe Screen Actors Guild, and then a bunch of other letters, has dismissed Gearbox's reasoning for not working with Troy Baker on Borderlands 3. Baker, one of the most visible voice actors in the game's industry, did not play Rise in Borderlands 3 despite having voiced the character for the whole of Telltale's Tales from the Borderlands series. Baker explained that it was simply, quote, a matter of they wouldn't go union and I can't do a non-union gig, end quote. Gearbox issued a response in which it explained, quote, it is a Texas company and is bound by Texas law, which means that a person cannot be denied employment because of membership or non-membership in a labor union or other labor organization. However, in a statement issued to VG247, SAG-AFTRA described Gearbox reference to Texas law as a non sequitur. Quote, we are fully aware of the anti-labor right to work for less laws that help explain why Texas has more minimum wage workers than any other state in the union, end quote, SAG-AFTRA said. Employers in Texas and other right to work for less states nevertheless routinely work under SAG-AFTRA agreements with no legal obstacle at all. To the extent that Gearbox's statement reflects legitimate ignorance, Gearbox could easily have asked that question during the discussions with SAG-AFTRA, which they did not. If indeed Gearbox meets or exceeds our contract standards in their treatment of performers, which we highly doubt, it would have cost them nothing to sign the union's agreement and retain the original cast of their game. So quite a lot of shade getting thrown back and forth there. SAG-AFTRA has also claimed that it would not have required Gearbox to use only union actors in Borderlands 3, Rather, it would have required that all actors be treated the same, whether union members or not. Quote, Gearbox was unwilling to sign the contract and bind themselves to honoring those standards as reflected in SAG-AFTRA's contract. They claim to adhere to those standards anyway, but we have no way to verify that, and in any event, a non-binding commitment to treat and pay workers fairly is not enough. Workers deserve the protection of an actual contract. And then they link to the VG4 247 article where they have like full statements from both companies. So a little bit of a conclusion to that whole story. It did seem kind of weird, the little bits that we were hearing from both sides. But essentially, yeah, it just comes down to, for whatever reason, somebody at Gearbox didn't want to sign this paper that says we're not going to like fuck over our voice actors, I guess. I don't know.
Like they gave them like a verbal commitment that they wouldn't do that, but they wanted something in
Yeah,
writing.
they wouldn't put something on paper.
Yeah.
Which always seems to be the problem with Gearbox, where it's just like there's always something where it's just like this little thing to make sure things go smoothly, but they'd rather have like their names blasted in like a story about some shit. Like we literally just did an article about these two assholes that had an argument with each other and decided to take it to court.
Yeah.
And then what happened? They both were like, oh,
They
never
let it go.
mind.
Yeah.
And it just had the company's name dragged through the mud for the entire extent of that process.
So Troy Baker wasn't lying.
No, and I don't think anyone thought he was lying, but it's because it was one of those things.
Or was he?
I know they talked about it a bit on Kind of Funny Games Daily before this article got posted, where Troy Baker had wanted to work with them on the Kind of Funny animated series.
Yeah, that's
where
right.
They did a few episodes of that. And he was going to be a character that was like a character throughout the show because he's really good friends with the guys that run Kind of Funny. And he came and did recordings for the first episode, and then the union found out about it, and it was just like a very like essentially a slap on the hand thing. But they were just like, you're not supposed to do that. Like just because you're in this union, like you should have told us, and we needed them to like sign certain things that say that, you know, little things like, oh, I'm sure, I don't know what all the details are, but it's stuff like here where it's like, if you work for 8 hours straight, the state says you're supposed to get a break at a certain amount.
6 hours.
It's stuff like that. Yeah, whatever it is.
I don't remember.
I know it's stuff like that, and it's just that's how these unions work. They have rules and blah, blah, blah. And this union happens to be one where he can take non-union jobs, but they still have to sign this agreement that says, hey, we're going to treat everyone else on this the same way that we would treat Troy Baker. And they were saying that, you know, they thought about going in and trying to figure out how to make that work and how to deal with these people. And because this was back when Kind of Funny first started, and it's like 5 of these guys, and they don't know how to deal with any of this shit. They took one look at the kind of paperwork and loopholes and or like holes they would have to
go through.
What's the word I'm looking for?
Rings?
Rings we have to jump through. Thank you. And they were like, we can't do this. Like, we love you, Troy, but like, we just can't do it. So he was just like a no-voiced character the rest of the show. But they made the very good point of like, clearly Gearbox can do this stuff. They're like a huge developer, and they had other people that did union work that voiced their characters just fine. So it's just,
it's like why aren't they
what
doing this?
miscommunication happened where that like Troy Baker, one of the biggest names in the industry as a voice actor, couldn't work on this game if they actually wanted to work on it. So just kind of weird how that all worked out.
Definitely.
Next, Ethan, do you have any more breaking news for us, by the way? You're still looking at your phone like you're
Still waiting for something good to
checking the
happen.
newsroom?
What
All right.
popped last week that we were like that I just missed out on because it didn't refresh on my feed or something? Something. Oh yeah, that
our
guy.
last story.
Wasn't it that
It's
guy?
our last story on this list, yeah. But before that, quick little update on the PlayStation 4 system software that's coming out this week. Normally we wouldn't want to like go over this, but there's a couple cool features that are the main ones for this update that I thought were worth mentioning.
Krispy Kreme has new donuts. Is that breaking news?
That is breaking news. What are we talking about here?
A new monster batch of Halloween donuts.
It's all Halloween stuff is not news.
I mean, they're pretty cool.
Oh, they look like donuts.
But they're monsters.
I thought this was breaking news. Spooky. Shut up. So the first big feature update is a revamping of the voice party feature on PS4. Maximum number of party users is being increased from 8 to 16.
That's too many people.
Eight's too many.
That's a lot.
I remember one because most of the games we play are like 4-player co-op stuff. I remember one time we tried to play the Division and we had like one extra person, or I think it was like you and me were on a team, and then like Ethan and Juan and other, like they were on another team.
But we were
and
all in a party
talk
chat,
over each other.
right?
I was like, this is dumb. Like I'm just gonna not play. You guys could party up and do 4 people with it. I'm getting a headache right now. Network connectivity has been improved. So maybe that means I can like chat with Hernan now if you're not in the party, because we had the issue for so long where if you would leave the party, then
That's
because
right.
of our network setup or something, I
couldn't
couldn't talk to Hernan. It would just like say, hey, y'all can't talk to each other. You're not allowed. Drew has to be the intermediary.
I'm just special.
Audio quality has also been improved, and then there's a cool accessibility chat transcript function that's been added. So the way that works is in the party app you can download on your phone. There's a new chat transcription feature which will just like do voice to text for everything in the party. And then same thing, like if I can type out my message and it will voice it in the party chat.
Nice.
That's cool.
And I know a lot of that is because of some of the new laws with just accessibility and like that voice to text feature and stuff that's supposed to be going everywhere. So that's very cool. And then Remote Play got some updates. We know that with the latest iOS 13, you were able to pair Bluetooth controllers now, and the DualShock 4 was one of those.
I got to try that out.
It now also works with
Android, right?
Android 10.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I was
latest
like, that's
Android,
cool.
native support for DualShock 4. And then Android also now has an official Remote Play app on the Play Store. So
that was what I saw.
Yeah, you only actually need Android 5 or better to do the Remote Play app. But for proper DualShock 4 connectivity, you'll need the newest version of Android. But that still means that you can still do like the touch screen controls for Remote Play that way, though. So
God, I couldn't imagine doing that.
Depends on the game. Like again, like there's plenty of games where I could imagine playing like fucking The Witcher 3 on my phone just because the text would be so fucking small. You'd never be able to read anything.
Yeah.
But there's other games you have. Like if I wanted to play Life is Strange 2 while I'm pooping, that'd be a good game to do that. But yeah, but also I have a Vita, so I technically don't need to do that anyway.
That's true.
I need to see if my Vita screen is bigger than my phone or not.
I feel like Dark Souls could be a fun game. Just
My Vita.
pop
Yeah.
in, pop out.
Yeah, because there's not a whole lot of reading.
No, you don't have
want
to read anything if that game if you don't want to.
Yeah, so that's a software update 7.0 that should be coming sometime this week. So hopefully by Friday when you're hearing this, that update will already be live. Next, we got a cheeky title for this article. This is from Wired.com. For Peter Rubin over Wired.com, PlayStation doubles down on cloud gaming starting now. Get it? Because it's PlayStation Now is the name of the service. It's good stuff. It's a longish article. Feel free to go read the whole thing. It's very interesting. But there's some good quotes in here because it kind of covers the whole, from the beginning of PlayStation Now up to the changes in this new one, to give some context. So, quote, I typically prefer doing to talking, says Jim Ryan, but I think we've been guilty of not talking enough about what we've done. Ryan, the CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment, is referring to PlayStation Now, the subscription service Sony launched all the way back in 2014 that allowed PlayStation owners to download older games or even stream them from the cloud. He ticks off progress of the service is concentrated on to date. Size of the game catalog, publisher roster, geographic coverage. In March, the service finally achieved server coverage throughout Western Europe, territory Ryan describes as critical heartland for PlayStation, which is very true. We talked about the number of sales of consoles in Europe. It's insane. Like all of Europe basically matches the US and how many consoles are out there across all those countries. But a lot has changed since 2014. There are the issues with the service itself, which Ryan calls many false steps taken, many lessons learned, an unsteady set of features that started with users being able to stream games to handheld devices or smart TVs and ended with the service only available on PS4s and PCs. Despite that, PlayStation Now has managed a compound annual growth rate of 40% and boasts 700,000 subscribers paying for access to a library of 800 games. Still, Ryan says, quote, the two things that people tell us they don't like about the service are the price and the quality of the games. So all that changes starting now. Today, Sony announced that PlayStation Now is cutting its price in half from $20 a month to $9.99 in the US. Similar price reductions go into effect across other regions and extend across quarterly and annual prepaid subscriptions as well. So if I recall correctly, the price is very similar to Game Pass and like EA Access. I think for 6 months, it's $30.
Salt on it.
Or maybe 45, but then a full year is $60.
Yeah, it was like $64.
Yeah, whereas before I think it was like 100 or 110 for the full year.
I remember.
Yeah, but $60 was enough where I was like, fuck it. Like as soon as I read this news, I went ahead and subscribed.
Nice.
I had enough fun playing Infamous, and like there will be other games that I'm gonna want to
go back
play
and
this way.
Yeah,
especially the PS3 library. And again, if your internet's fast enough and you have low enough ping, it's really not bad. But I suggest anyone who's interested try the trial, see if it actually works well in your home.
I've been meaning to. I'm still kind of saving the trial. I want to try because I want to see if I can play Demon Souls.
Well, now you don't have to really save it because
Demon Souls on
if
there?
it rolls over, it's only $10 for the month. That's less than Netflix these days. And I think I don't know if Demon Souls is. I know that Dark Souls is.
I have that. I've
and Dark Souls 2. Yeah, I don't know that Demon Souls is. Additionally, it announced the service had added 4 new games: God of War, Infamous Second Son, Uncharted 4: A Thief's End, and Grand Theft Auto 5 that will remain on the service until January, with more marquee games coming thereafter.
So you only have like a little while to play those, right?
Yeah, but that's also too where that just might be the temporary deal. You have to imagine that it really depends how much weight do they want to put behind this service to compete, because on the other side you got Game Pass. They're launching all their first party games.
Gears 5 came out on
day
Game
one.
Pass,
on
yeah.
Game Pass,
Where Sony doesn't have to do that because Sony sells them now.
because we buy our exclusives.
Yeah, like that's the different when you have a game again like Uncharted 4, which I think sold like something like 19 million copies. Obviously, price reductions have happened since then, but I think it broke like 5 or 6 million the first week times $60.
Yeah, it's insane.
And that's a Sony first party game, so they get more than just the 30% cut they would normally get for for selling it on PlayStation. Like that's a lot of money. No one's buying the big Xbox games quite in that volume. That's why Game Pass makes more sense for that company. Yeah, I can imagine they're going to probably start putting more of the backlog first-party stuff on there in the future. Why Sony chose today to shine some light on PlayStation Now is no mystery, with Google Stadia set to launch next month and Microsoft's Project xCloud beginning its beta program this month. Cloud gaming is stepping into the next phase of its evolution. Quote, Sony wants to make sure that they give the perception that they're not letting competition get a leg up, says David Cole, CEO of research firm DFC Intelligence. Quote, I talk to a lot of investors who don't necessarily know the gaming industry that well, but they see Google as this huge potential threat. Now Sony can say not only are they not going to lose on pricing, but they have the edge on content. Despite the imminent launch of Stadia, Cole says that cloud gaming is nowhere near posing a threat to the conventional console business. It's not just a question of technological obstacles. Game streaming services have yet to establish a consistent business model. As a result, he says, third-party publishers are pretty darn leery. Yeah, I think that price drop was exactly what most of us were hoping for.
I think we were all expecting. I think a lot of people predicted that there would be a price drop eventually.
Yeah, once Game Pass came out at $10 a month,
that's how
one of those
business
things,
works.
Sony doesn't have to compete, but they should,
Yes.
and it makes sense for them to just go like, at this point, with how many subscribers they've had, the R&D part of it's been paid for a while.
Right.
Those server farms of PS3s and stuff are probably doing exactly what they need to. What I'm interested in, because we heard a couple months ago about them partnering with Microsoft to start using some of their Azure cloud servers and stuff, which Azure is kind of like Amazon Web Services, where there's just these giant server farms that you can run all this software on and just provide lots of mirrors for these kind of things. Because right now, the way that PlayStation Now works,
the server farms down in the Silicon Valley.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
the way that this works right now for PlayStation Now, whereas if you were playing a PS3 game on PlayStation Now, like Infamous or the first Uncharted, whatever, there's a server farm that Sony has that's literally just racks and racks and racks and racks
Of chickens.
of server style PlayStation 3 consoles.
Server stuff.
So when I say server style, I mean instead of the big fat PS3,
Yeah, it's more slim down.
it's a rack that's this big.
Yeah.
Rack of ribs. Look at Ethan. He's like, he keeps thinking about food every time I say racks and farms. He's like, so you're telling me it's a bunch of PlayStation chickens and the games are eggs and they fry the egg and they put it on the internet. That's how I'm playing Infamous
And
on
that's
my PS.
Exactly.
profits. That's how they make profits.
That's how they make them. That's them golden goose eggs they're talking
Yes.
about.
The server farm here.
Yeah, so what would be really interesting is if when PS5 comes out, let's say there is PlayStation 3 native backwards compatibility, which is a pipe dream.
What?
Right.
Fuck.
Like,
What are you smoking?
Instead of streaming it, you'd be able to
No,
pop
I
in a
get
PS3
what
game.
you're saying. It's
It
just-
would be incredible. It would be really cool. There's weird patents and stuff right now where they're kind of hinting that they're at least looking into this, but we don't know anything about
Sure.
this console yet. So
It's got a dick tray.
All pipe dream stuff.
We saw that.
If it worked, though, they could replace all of those PS3 server racks in their farm with PS5 blades instead, which means that day one be ready to stream any of the PS5 stuff that they'd have up there and stream all those games to your phone and shit like that, which would compete with Google Stadia because now they're saying, oh, you don't even need to buy a PS5. You've already got your
Right.
phone. You have your PS4. Stream that game here if you're on PlayStation Now. That's a potential way to do it. But then also simultaneously, they could replace all of these older, less efficient PlayStation 3 racks.
Yeah.
Because those are still, it's the old cell processor. It probably takes more power to run that than it does a new PS5. 'Cause that's just how these processor revisions work and shit. So that'd be incredibly interesting. That'd be very cool. I know that plays into a little bit of their whole talk with trying to reduce their carbon footprint as a company and everything. A big way to do that is to draw less power in these giant server farms that everyone's got. Why is that so funny to
I
you?
don't know. Okay, it just is.
Next up,
Wordplay is funny.
over at IGN.com, We got an article from Matt Perslow. PlayStation 4 crossplay exits beta and is now a full feature available for developers.
This was like a week, right? Like, because I feel like I just heard its beta being announced like the other day.
Well, the beta happened when Fortnite went crossplay.
Oh.
Because up to this point, there's only been a few, and that was like Fortnite. PUBG just recently went crossplay.
The new Call of Duty.
Minecraft. Or is Minecraft even one? I don't know.
I don't think so.
What am I missing? There was a big one. Rocket League. That was the
That's
other big
it,
one
yeah.
that's crossplay with everything. Sony's crossplay function for PlayStation 4 has now completed its beta phase and is a full feature for developers to make use of. Strangely, Sony has made no official announcement about crossplay being promoted to a full feature.
Oh, Sony.
The news instead comes from a Wired article, which I believe is the one that we were just reading, which states that crossplay is now available to any developer that wishes to implement it in their game. Call of Duty Modern Warfare seems likely to be the first new game to support this at launch, with it being set for release later this month. The beta phase of PS4 crossplay included games such as Fortnite and Rocket League. I could just scroll down. There you go. Which help prove the system's capabilities. Hopefully from now on, we'll see more multi-platform games support crossplay. Sony Interactive Entertainment CEO Jim Ryan explained to Wired in the same article that Sony has to keep pushing PlayStation and its features in order to survive next generation. Quote, the track record of the incumbent platform winning the next time around is not a great one. And by that, he's meaning when Nintendo was hot shit, PlayStation came out, PlayStation 1 won that generation. PlayStation was hot shit. PlayStation 2 came out. They got lucky. They still won that generation. But then PS3 came out. They kind of shit the bed. Xbox was crushing it for a long time.
Yeah.
The Wii sold like hotcakes. You couldn't find one.
It's true.
Then next generation,
Wii U
Xbox
sucks.
shit the bed.
Yeah.
PS4 comes out, sells like hotcakes.
And Nintendo's
no
just
one,
kinda-
no one even knows what a
Yeah,
Wii U is.
Nintendo's
So
just
it's
like,
just, it's weird. It's definitely a lot of back and forth.
And then Nintendo makes the Switch, kills it again.
Yeah, quote, so the major thrust of my executive energy is to avoid complacency, which is a really excellent quote. That was the one I was looking for in the article before. Crossplay certainly helps show that Sony isn't willing to believe its current dominance will ensure guaranteed success in the upcoming generation. So, good stuff. Crossplay is good.
Yeah. About fucking time.
Yeah, Ethan, I bet you wish you had crossplay in that Battlefront 2 right now. Wish those
Not really. no.
populations were a little higher.
Oh, I told you there's lots of people playing the game.
I don't believe you.
Okay. Play it with me and then maybe you'll find out.
You
Okay,
got to
now-
download it again.
It took like 6 minutes.
Now, this one's a big story. I don't think it's going to take too long to get through, but this is one where I think we do need a lot of the context. This is what we were talking about, the late breaking news we missed literally from when we finished recording
Yep.
last week's
Last week.
episode.
We're
This
just gonna
from
fucking roll back in here and record.
Yeah,
again?
absolutely. Go
We actually hadn't even finished.
to formula. This is from Johnny Cullen over at GameDaily.biz. Sean Layden departs Sony amid restructuring confusion and potential power struggle. The departure of Worldwide Studios chairman was announced with little fanfare, and one third-party source tells Game Daily recent PlayStation globalization is exponentially exacerbating the next-gen transition. Of course, we're at the end of the generation. Next year, probably in the fall, is the most likely time that we'll be getting not just a new PlayStation, but a new Xbox. Well, we know that the Xbox is coming in the fall. They've already said that. Sony's been a little more tight-lipped about PlayStation 5. They've said there's another console coming. They haven't even said it's called a PlayStation
Yeah,
5 yet or
but we
anything
all
like
know
that.
it's gonna be.
We know that's probably what it'll be.
PlayStation
Vita
X.
2? Vita 2?
I would
PlayStation
love
X.
to see another handheld from
Just
PlayStation.
a fucking hybrid PlayStation 5
I think it's just
portable, just like the Switch.
move on.
It's just another PS5.
Stick with what you're good at.
Can you imagine if the PS5 comes in with a Vita 2 dock?
Oh god, it'd be so good. Yeah. Vita lives. Vita means life. PlayStation announced in a tweet on September 30th with little fanfare. Quote, it is with great emotion that we announced that Worldwide Studios chairman Sean Layden will be departing Sony Interactive Entertainment. His visionary leadership will be greatly missed. We wish him success in future endeavors and are deeply grateful for his years of service. Thanks for everything, Sean! Exclamation point. This announcement provided little fanfare on the announcement. This is some weird writing on the. This announcement provided little fanfare on the announcement, especially for someone who has had a long and distinguished career at PlayStation and Sony. Layden himself hasn't tweeted anything on his personal Twitter account as of publication. Game Daily reached out to Sony for comment, but didn't receive a response before publication. In a follow-up with Polygon, Sony said there was no other information at the moment. Now, Layden joined Sony in 1987 as a communications assistant to Sony co-founder Akio Morita before heading from Japan to Europe in the late 90s as head of international game development at Studio London and then as vice president of Sony Computer Entertainment Europe. He then took over the mantle as head of Sony Computer Entertainment Japan from 2007 to 2010, before going on to set up the foundation of what would be Sony Network Entertainment, taking the roles of EVP and COO of that arm. Layden took charge of Sony Interactive Entertainment America in 2014, following the departure of former president and CEO Jackie T. Tritton. Y'all remember Jackie T?
Nope.
No?
What the fuck is that?
God, you guys are so new. In 2016, he became who is he? He showed off the PlayStation 4. He was with us through all of the PlayStation 3 No, you don't know who Jack Tritton is? Oh, God.
Sorry, I don't.
Yeah.
Jesus. In 2016, he became chairman of Sony's Worldwide Studios following the rebranding of Sony Interactive Entertainment, a merger of Sony Computer Entertainment and Sony Network Entertainment that same year, alongside his then charge at Sony Interactive Entertainment Asia. In his time as chairman of Worldwide Studios, Layden has overseen PlayStation's golden period with multiple Game of the Year winners and nominees, including Marvel Spider-Man. Layden was the face of the deal that brought Insomniac Games into Sony's first-party studio family, which was finalized in August of this year, and the person who greenlit the project.
What, does he want a plaque for it? Like,
he should get one. Layden's exit comes at a time of transitional upheaval, and not just with the next-gen PlayStation 5 looming. There's also the possibility of an internal power struggle, which appears to stem from a corporate restructure that started back in April of 2018, which is when Sony Interactive Entertainment truly went global. So in 2018, we talked about this before, they just recently moved their headquarters from Tokyo, Japan to, I believe, Santa Monica, California.
Yeah.
If it's not Santa Monica, it's San Diego or something like that. But
yeah.
they're in California now, though, which is weird. Like, Nintendo of Japan is still
in Japan,
the big boss of Nintendo.
Yeah.
Obviously, Microsoft is in Redmond. They didn't just pick up and move across the world.
Right.
Sony is more and more becoming an American company, which is really weird because we're at a point now with Sony as well where Sony Interactive Entertainment is the bulk of the money, the revenue and profit that is generated by all of Sony.
Really?
That's including Sony
Movies,
Pictures, which
yeah.
is their movie studio, and that's including their larger hardware division because they don't make the laptops and PCs they used to make anymore. All that's been shut down. Their phone line Xperia and everything has been kind of pushed to the wayside. There's like one or two models, I think, that are
I didn't even know they had a phone line.
Oh, yeah. Xperia has been a thing for a while.
Xperia?
But yeah, so, and this is also coming from the same company that in the PS2 era, they were thinking about like shutting down that whole division because they were just like, what? We don't even need this. We're so huge. And now this is the part of the company that is literally keeping Sony afloat.
well, harsh.
Sad but true, as James Hetfield of Metallica would say. At that time, Sony announced a reshuffle that then saw PlayStation President John Codera take control of the Americas and Japan Asia. Deputy President Jim Ryan, who is now the CEO, assumed responsibility for Europe. Additionally, all sales and marketing divisions within America, Europe, and Japan Asia were to report to Ryan. Meanwhile, Layden was to concentrate his focus on Worldwide Studios, continuing to provide platform-defining content that helps drive the growth of Sony Interactive Entertainment. Worldwide Studios is regarded as a side project, albeit a significant one, within the bigger picture of SIE's management. Ryan and Codera run the bulk of the operation, with Layden's position as chairman created specifically with him in mind. Later in February, Ryan was announced to be the new president and CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment Worldwide less than a year after being named deputy president. Ryan effectively swapped titles with John Codera, who was tasked to provide an emphasis on user experiences and network services. So Codera, before he became the interim CEO, was essentially heading like the networking side of PlayStation.
Okay.
So he oversaw a lot of, for lack of a better term, renovations that have happened on PSN over the last few years. Mm-hmm. One of his biggest goals was getting the PlayStation name changes in effect, because that was such a huge request, but a huge endeavor to like rework the entire back end of the PlayStation network to fix this thing, because there were just so many issues that he kind of took over when he got that job. Mm-hmm. It's worth bearing in mind that Codera was only president and CEO for 15 months, having taken over for Andrew House in October of 2017. That's essentially the gist of it. Okay, here we go. This is the other part. One point where Layden and Ryan clashed was on cross-platform services, specifically crossplay. In an interview with Eurogamer from 2017, Jim Ryan defended Sony's then stance of not allowing crossplay, specifically on Minecraft on PlayStation 4, saying the platform has, quote, got to be mindful of our responsibility to our install base, exposing what in many cases are children to external influences we have no ability to manage or look after, It's something we have to think about very carefully. So that was back when Sony's excuse for why they weren't supporting crossplay was just think of the children.
Horseshit.
And then there was the huge backlash over that. And this is the guy that has now been made CEO of the company.
Wow.
But seems to change his tune because, of course, like we just said, crossplay is now out of beta. He kind of went back on a lot of that. I think he had another quote from a while ago that was, I don't know if it's in this article, but he was at some showcase or whatever. Oh, it was an event for the celebration of an anniversary for Gran Turismo. And he was like, when people were asking him about backwards compatibility, he was saying it's a feature that we get asked about a lot, but we noticed that not a lot of people actually use it. Not to mention, he was like, this is all paraphrasing.
So many people would use that.
Not to mention, I was at a Gran Turismo event the other day, and they had Gran Turismo 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 and Sport all next to each other on different displays. And I'm looking at all the old ones thinking, this is horrible. Why would anyone want to play this when there's the new one or whatever? And so just some kind of like weird comments from someone who's clearly not a retro gamer or anything like that.
Yeah.
Definitely more just like the businessman side of it. But yeah, just some really interesting stuff. And it's just odd overall that there was no fanfare of Layden leaving. He'd been with the company almost 30 years.
Yeah.
Has been for the most of this era of PlayStation the face of the company next to Shuhei Yoshida, because this is the guy that was on stage that introduced God of War at E3 a couple years ago when they had that big epic on-stage orchestra.
Oh, I forgot about
to show off the game. Yeah, he was the one who's out there doing the E3 presentations. He was the one doing all the presentations for the last few years. And for him to not get anything more than just a tweet that says effective immediately, this guy's not working here anymore.
Yeah, that's real
odd.
shitty.
Yeah, so we'll see how some of that fleshes out. I'm not one of the people who's like in a panic over the next PlayStation over this. I think these like big companies change all the time.
Yeah.
Around the start of the PS4 era was when Jack Tretton left and some of the bigger names that were involved with the prior generation of Sony. So changes are afoot. I like Sean Layden a lot. Hope he does awesome in his next endeavor.
Yeah.
It's weird that we lost him and Reggie in the same year.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say with Reggie. I mean, Nintendo made a huge fanfare when he left.
Oh, yeah. He's getting like I read earlier this week, he's getting honored at like the Video Game Hall of Fame or something this year.
That's
and all
awesome.
these
Good
things.
for him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
and then, Sean's just left by the wayside.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope we hear something from him before too long about that, or if there's a book comes out in the next 10
Or an
years
article or something,
Yeah,
an interview.
There's going to be some sort of...
Let's invite him on the podcast.
Let's get Jason Schreier
Sean
on it.
Layden, you want to come down?
Jason, do what you do. Give me a good article on what happened with Sean Layden. And guys, that's all the news. How's that for a segue?
Oh, man, that was perfect.
Yeah.
I like that thing that you just said before that.
It was very insightful.
Yeah, it was really good.
About Sean Layden?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
I was wondering if you were going to remember.
We both.
Why wouldn't I remember? We talked about it 30 seconds ago.
Yeah, we
good
both
point,
all
yeah.
remembered what we just talked about. Yeah,
So I know this episode's going long. It's a long one.
it's a you said we're probably at like 1:30, and we still have a movie.
But I made a promise at the beginning of this episode.
We are going to talk about Joker.
Yes.
Yes, we as a collective world should talk about Joker.
We live in a society, and as a society, we should talk about Joker. Yeah, so we watched that. That came out just this last weekend. We caught it on Saturday.
But it seemed like it came out so much earlier because just all the reviews were so forward, and all the people talking about it.
We told you before because it was a festival movie
Yes,
too. It had been screened for a lot of people.
And people would just not
Months
stop.
ago.
Just Joker.
Well,
got a
that
standing
only happened
ovation.
recently. Or are you talking about how they were just like praising it and then
No, like
the
just
last
in
week or so
in
where they're
the
like, this is
initial-
going to get so many people hurt.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Oh.
The initialness of like before it actually had opening weekend, people were worried about it causing some sort of you know things, and
a bunch of people that hadn't even watched the movie
Yes.
yet, but were just like, I've heard the Joker's a bad guy.
I think a lot of people were associating it to that Aurora shooting.
Yeah, which makes zero sense.
Yeah, and yeah, because honestly, the trailers for this movie I think do a terrible job of giving you insight into what the movie's actually going to be like.
Oh yeah, well I
Yeah.
think that it's just
Well,
because it's
isn't
one of
that
those
a
trailers. It
good
doesn't
trailer?
give you the plot of the
but
film.
I think a lot of those opinions were coming based off the trailer.
it just leaves everyone else up to thinking, oh well, I'm not a creative thinker because I work for one of these websites where I'm writing about how awful things are going to happen because of a movie coming out.
Yeah.
Bad stuff's going to happen.
So that kind of
Big
person
insight.
is not going to be able to come up with a story of where the Joker movie might go. outside of what they know about the character.
Because you know
from
what?
what we've seen.
Then when the bad thing that they said or predicted doesn't happen, it's never, oh, you were wrong. It's, oh, well, thank God that didn't happen. You know, it's not like, come on. We know,
This is one of those movies we walked out of the theater and I said I really enjoyed it. I still think I really enjoyed it. I think I like it more now and I've had some days to marinate on it.
I have some thoughts.
And I was saying how it's a movie where immediately I was like, I'll probably never watch this again. I think I've changed my tune on that already. Because I
think you want to give it another watch. There is a little piece from the movie that is still stuck in my head that I want to revisit.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of very, theory going.
Yeah.
So
keep in mind we're spoiler free right now.
We'll get into it later. Yeah.
I could see it in Drew's eyes. He was about to be
I'm
like,
not-
but the part where Harley Quinn shows up.
Yeah.
It's a hard movie to watch for sure.
It's awkwardness and uncomfortableness is abound in this movie.
Yeah.
And the more I think about it, I think the reason I wasn't sure if I wanted to rewatch it is because it's one of those movies where I think you could sit down and cut like 10 to 15 minutes out of
I think so.
the first like 80% of the film.
Yes.
And then it's funny because the way that you said in the theaters, you were joking about it in the movie.
Yeah, you two
and
assholes.
you said,
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Drew, if you didn't know, me and Travis talk the whole time usually.
I know.
Yeah.
No, I was telling Travis
especially
on
when
the
we saw
drive
how
home.
empty the theater was, we were like, okay, we can banter.
It's funny because like at one point in my mind, during every movie we see, I always go, man, I hope I'm not talking too much and ruining this movie for Travis. And then I'll be quiet for a little while, and then he'll say something to me,
I gotta say,
and I'll be like, nah, he's doing the same shit.
Yeah, no, I was telling Travis on the way home, like I was immersed in that movie, and then there'd be times you two
You
assholes.
just hear us cackle.
And I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, motherfucker.
Yeah, these guys next to me probably were not too pleased with me, but
No sitting next to you two anymore.
we're just so opinionated.
It's fine. We're good company. You turn to me at one point and you just go, third acts are hard, which I thought was really funny because I think the third act of this movie is incredible.
Yeah,
like
I liked it.
I thinking back, I don't know how I necessarily meant that because I agree. The first two acts of this movie are the hard to watch. The end of this movie is great.
Yeah.
The thing it does with the thing is the best iteration of that, in my opinion, in a long time.
I think so. I thought it was kind of fresh.
And I really love the third act of this movie. Well, I think by saying third acts are hard, I meant everybody else can't do it, but this was a good third act.
which is surprising because the director and the writer, Todd Phillips, is the guy that did the Hangover movies.
Yeah, he did
And,
like
like-
Euro Trip too, or
But
Did
those
he?
are
I think so.
don't know.
He's mostly a comedy guy.
for what the Hangover movies are, considering that the second and third are just rehashes of the
they're
first
garbage.
one.
Yeah.
The first one is a pretty good
No,
idea.
I think the
It
first one,
depends on
whenever
if
the
you're
first
into that style of comedy, though, because
not even just comedy. I'm talking about a plot and storyline.
I mean, the plot and the storyline are just LOL absurd things are happening, and then the movie goes along, and then none of it matters because he was on the roof the whole time, and nothing they did led them to find that out. Like it's not a particularly clever comedy film. It doesn't have to be because
it focuses on the outrageous,
Travis,
and I think he
so-
makes it work in the first one. Like I feel like the first Hangover was at the time like kind of a revolutionary comedy.
I don't know. I wouldn't go that far, but it's good. I think it was good
Okay,
for
maybe not revolutionary, but
I think
fresh.
I think
And
the
then-
idea was really good for when it came out in the time. And like I said, the second and third are just them trying to ramp it up,
Yeah,
but
it's
doing the
not
exact
good.
same
Sure.
thing. That shit with Mike Tyson is hilarious.
I would just basically my whole point is just the
I
way
never
that,
saw the second or the third one.
the way I felt about the Hangover movies made me wary of how
it's
this
in the
would
first
work
one.
out because he doesn't typically do stuff like this.
Yeah.
But there
this
were
is his first like
the tiger. It's in the first one.
Yeah.
Sorry.
there were so many good like dark comedy moments in Joker though that I
Yeah.
was not expecting.
For me, they hit a lot less. The only time I think I really laughed was at the end with his two friends in his house before the very end.
Yeah, oh,
In
that's
his
one of the
apartment.
scenes too. Yeah,
that
for
was
sure.
I laughed out loud because that
Oh, yeah,
shit
that was
was
really-
perfectly timed.
Yeah.
But
no, I think
don't
one
know
of the other good ones was whenever he was arguing with the two cops outside of the hospital, and then he makes that really big like.
It's one of the first points in the
Oh,
movie where he
yeah,
seems almost
okay.
kind of serious and confident,
and then he
walks
turns-
into the pane of glass. Yeah,
that was fucking good.
Kinda, like that was funny, but I felt like it was funny for the wrong reasons. It just didn't land that like I get it. He was trying to be serious, and then it just made it more awkward because he's actually awkward and he can't be serious.
Well, that happens a lot in this movie, though, is the moments where he's not trying to be funny and he's trying to be more
serious, or some of the funnier
serious or something
scenes.
are the things where he ends up unintentionally or not being humorous. And I think adds to
the running into the glass just was meh for me. But like I said, the other part, and then I think there was one more that kind of did.
Well, before we get into 2 minutes, because we'll get back into that in a minute. But so overall, though, like I guess to revisit our rating before we get into the spoilers.
Yeah.
Now you've had some time to think about it. Where is it sitting with you guys?
I'm still gonna go with like a 7.8.
7.8.
Yeah, because I was gonna say
That's really
7.5.
That's
but
oddly specific.
yeah,
A little better than a 7.5.
yeah,
Just a little.
yep.
Only slightly.
It's one of those movies where it's like it's good as a whole, but when you like look at the overall scenes individually, you're just like too many things kind of bother me about certain things. Cause like I get it. He has a lot of bad stuff happen to him and it's just what happens, but was all that stuff really that bad? Like
He gets the shit kicked out of him in the first
does
5
he,
minutes
though?
in the movie.
Like they kick him a little, yeah.
Well, okay,
but
so let's go into it now.
like, come on.
So I would say the more I've thought about it, I've moved from like an 8 to like an 8.5. I would
Really?
say. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's a solid 7. There's some stuff about it that bothers me. It's
Okay.
fine. It's fine.
Overall, great movie.
Oh yeah, overall it's good though. Especially for what it is as a Joker origin story, and I think it would be great as a standalone though. I don't think it needs a sequel.
No, yeah, that's what they said. This is going to be the only one. This is like a one-off thing.
Did they say that?
Yeah.
No. Well, they haven't said anything specific about it.
Phoenix said he would do another.
In the most recent interview,
Yeah.
he said that him and Todd had already been talking about
tossing around,
the potential for a sequel, only if it's like
something
like Joaquin
people want.
Phoenix said he would like to explore the character further. He said he's open to
But
it. If they figure
the
out a story or
further-
something, then
The further you go with it, you have to get more Batman in there, and it takes away, I think, from the message and the vision that they had for this movie. You know what I mean? The more actual Batman you bring
Yeah.
into it, and then Batman aspects of it.
the Batman.
The Batman.
The Batman. Oh, yeah, but one thing I wanted to say was that going back to the comedy aspect of the film, there's actually a few comedians in there that I recognized. Like, I mean, right off the
Hold
bat.
on, did we officially say spoilers? We're in spoilers
We have
territory
not
now.
said it yet.
Okay, we're gonna go into spoilers because
sorry.
even this is enough to say like it's spoilers.
That's fine.
Yeah, we're in spoilers for Joker. If you
I'm
haven't
gonna
seen it yet,
spoil this movie, y'all.
pause it, bookmark, come back later after you've seen it. We're not going anywhere. This will be forever archived on the internet, available throughout the universe. But yeah, again, it is the last topic of the podcast too, so you're not missing anything afterwards except for our typical closing banter bullshit.
Right.
So if you haven't seen Joker or you don't care about spoilers,
We're about to spoil it
we're about to spoil the shit out of
fuck
it.
out of it.
because it's fresh in my head.
But like I was saying, a couple comedians actually in the movie, and like right off the bat, you know, Mark Maron's in there. He's Robert De Niro's like producer. He was the guy that was whenever.
Oh, I must have missed that.
Yeah.
The guy at the end, right, when he's like,
Yeah, he only has a few lines in the movie, yeah. And then the first time Arthur goes to the comedy club, the guy on stage, that's Gary Goldman.
is that an actual comic?
Yeah, he's a
That's
stand-up
cool.
comedian. He actually has a new special on comedy or on HBO right now.
Nice. I said nobody
And
has
then-
Comedy Central specials anymore, except for Kevin Hart.
And then whenever Arthur goes back to his job to get after he gets fired to go get his stuff, the guy.
Oh yeah, his boss wasn't his boss somebody also?
I don't think so. But the person I'm talking about is the clown putting makeup in the mirror, the one that originally starts talking to
the
him.
big guy.
No, not the big guy. The
No,
big
once
guy,
he gets fired and he's cleaning out his locker or something.
Yeah.
The one they don't really go to give him a close up, do they?
No, you can kind of see his face through
Yeah,
the
yeah,
mirror. That's Brian Callen.
Don't know who that is either.
He goes on Joe Rogan and he's part of that whole crew sometimes.
As far as the budget goes, shit, I just had it pulled up and then your computer freaked out on me.
Go to fucking Wikipedia.
Well, a lot of the Wikipedia stuff, it's still like updating as far as like the
Yeah.
box office revenue and the results and everything.
Sure. I can't imagine the budget was that big. Like there
Well,
wasn't.
that was why this is such a big deal, and that's why I was going to say too is if anybody wants to make a sequel of this already, it's going to be Warner Bros. Because this movie has already, outsold. Oh, it beat Justice League's opening weekend.
Of course it did.
beat like Venom for best movie opening in October.
And number one opening weekend for an R-rated film. It surpassed it. Chapter
Oh,
1
wow.
or
Okay.
Chapter 2, which just came out or whatever.
it really?
I'm sorry, Chapter 1 I think was the highest.
Oh, okay.
And then Venom.
One
but then
did
this
better
surpassed that.
than the second one.
Yeah, the second because the second one was a hard pitch because it's a 3-hour film.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's like and I think
It
it's-
is?
Seems like they should have put
Chapter 2.
Seems like
Yeah.
they should have put more of that story into the first part.
Yeah. So worldwide gross for Venom. A lot of these numbers are still coming in because this is Monday, but I'm
Venom?
pretty sure for Joker was $248,402,337.
That was the budget.
That was the worldwide
sorry.
box office.
Okay.
Domestic, that was 96.2 million, and foreign 152.2. And something important to note in that is that this was without China, because China is not distributing this film.
Definitely not. Not it's way too far.
And then,
for sure.
most of India also didn't get this film, and those have been the two big like foreign countries these days that contribute to a lot of that stuff. I think for India, it was just there's certain regulations. It's like it's screened in some places in India, but it didn't get a large format release. Not 100% sure why.
I'm not sure.
But that was a big one, and of course, China is a huge part of foreign box office these days.
Yeah.
And
it's
it
too
won't
much
be there.
close-up violence for China. Like it's
Not even that. I mean, it would
I
never
think
come
it's-
out right
it's
now because of all the Hong
Hong
Kong
Kong
protests
stuff, yeah, all
and
the
this
masks,
whole film
yeah.
is like the kill the rich and like the protests of the common people and all that
Yeah.
stuff like that. Definitely not coming out in Hong Kong right now. Yeah, what was the? I'm trying to. Where's the fucking budget?
budget, man. Come
It
on.
doesn't say production budget.
This
It's not,
movie
even, it's not even on
costs.
here. I
How
don't
much
know.
did this movie cost?
It didn't cost much. I know that. It's already made more than Shazam did in its entire box office run. I just know it was a fairly low budget. I want to say
There
it was-
wasn't because, like, honestly, if you think back, there
wasn't a lot of special effects.
Yeah,
or
I don't
anything.
even remember like one
I would
big
say
explosion.
The biggest
blood caps.
The biggest thing was probably the car crash.
Oh, the budget from
Oh
This
yeah,
Google
with the
says-
ambulance at the end. Yeah.
this says 55 million. So
Really?
fairly low overall compared to what you're looking
that's
at for
true.
your typical comic book
Yeah.
hero movie or whatever. But yeah,
Probably
small
mostly,
cast
that was
too.
probably mostly Joaquin
Most
Phoenix.
of it was probably Joaquin
Yeah.
and then Robert Downey Jr. and
Robert De Niro.
Some of the
Robert De Niro.
Robert De Niro, Robert Downey Jr. Smaller cast characters and stuff, like a couple of those comedian cameos and everything. But yeah, like you said, not a whole bunch of like. It's not like your typical comic book film at all.
No, it's a very artsy avant-garde film. Like
Yeah.
it really is.
And
It works.
it does.
It does. Well, I mean, Joaquin like completely carries it.
Yeah, before I came out, I was watching the Red Letter Media's.
I'm sorry. I just don't like give him an Oscar. Come on, really?
I don't
He's
know.
a fantastic actor.
Yeah, he's a
He
great
is.
Oscar.
I'm not
I don't know.
arguing with that, but
For
I don't.
this, I mean, I don't know.
Like to me, I think it's the laugh. The laugh just wasn't believable to me.
I liked it.
I thought it was from the perspective of, because we haven't heard this before, as at least in the film ones. I'm sure there's a Joker story out there somewhere that covers this. But I think the laugh is done really well when you're trying to consider that this is a character where
He can't control it.
Yes, I get it. It's a
part of the
medical
mental
condition.
illness that he has.
Yes.
And there are some moments where he's doing the laugh and he's
it
like
chokes
choking
him. Yes,
and stuff.
that is very well done, but that's not part of the laugh per se. That's him mimicking him choking and losing air.
Yeah.
The laugh is what's not believable to me. Like I get it, it's a medical thing. It's not supposed to be like a maniacal laugh. It's supposed to give that transition for later when it does become like his calling card. But it comes off as very forced.
Once he transforms into Joker, does he do the laugh much?
No, because it's
It's
the
more
condition
controlled.
The condition is only for when he's in awkward positions and he feels uncomfortable. The end is when he kind of accepts himself as who he is.
Well-
so the laugh is it probably isn't being triggered because he finally feels accepted.
Well, something else that I
what
think,
I mean?
because I kind of forgot about it until I was reading more about it, just people's like thoughts on it and everything, was that there's that point in the film where he stops taking his medication because he can't get it anymore.
It's hard to tell when
And
that
so-
kind of goes into effect.
Yeah. And, part of the reason he's able to finally make that transition
Yeah.
is because he's not so drugged up on everything anymore. And maybe that was where he was getting almost awkwardness and anxiety because he was on so many pills and
Yeah,
shit. Like,
sure.
Because again, it's apparently like when we don't know what landed him in Arkham Hospital the first time. I don't think they talk about it.
No,
We just
they
know
don't. They don't go
we
into
saw,
that.
We see a small scene where he had been there prior.
I think it might be because of like the end. Are we fully spoilers?
No, yeah, we're fully
So I
spoiler
think it
mode.
has a lot to do with like the abuse and mental abuse with his mom and his was that his stepdad?
And I think it was
guess?
an abusive boyfriend.
Yeah, so like I think a lot of that trauma and shit is maybe what put him in Arkham because his mom couldn't.
But we don't know
watch
how
him.
long he had been there.
Sure, yeah. But
If he grew up in Arkham Asylum.
think that's what I think.
or
I think
what?
it's one of those things where he grew up in there long enough to where he could take care of his mom and the roles could reverse. Because isn't there a point in the movie where he says like,
I must have skipped over that. I don't remember him being in Arkham before.
No.
It's a
like
very
show
small
it.
scene. It's
Yeah.
near the beginning of the film when he's
Okay.
talking to his psychiatrist,
I'm sorry to
the
interrupt
or
you.
the
No,
it's
social
all right.
worker.
No.
Because he's talking to the social worker and she says something about it. And so that's the first time we see the hospital.
And I think that's when he mentions he says like, I think I would have preferred being back at the hospital.
Okay.
So I feel like he had been there long enough to become acclimated. And so maybe a couple of years, like I think they institutionalized both him and his mom.
Yeah.
And like I said, when he was of age to actually,
It's kind of weird for them to, in like the real world, for them to get released to a point where one is in the care of another when they were both in the care of the state. For
I'm sure
some
when you
point.
have nobody else, it kind of that may.
I guess yeah, it makes sense because like we saw in the beginning of the film, they're cutting funding because that was one of the
Cities
big
probably
emphases
Like,
of the
because I
film.
mean, even like prisoners get parole and stuff for good behavior, so it could have been one of those things that built up, and with medication and counseling.
That's what makes me wonder how long he was there.
Yeah.
Just because it had to have been long enough where he was on perfect behavior because of all these drugs at some point. Like
they gave him the
'cause
card. We assume like
he's not about to hurt himself or others. That's the big reason why you get stuck in there is if they still think you're a risk or whatever, or if it's another thing where it's just the city's not spending money on these services. They're like, well, he seems fine enough. Let's get him out of here.
Yeah, exactly. They could have needed the room and for both of the people, and they got them both out. Yeah, we don't know.
And there's one thing I'm kind of wrestling with as far as because there's the big twist near the end of the film where we find out that he's been an unreliable narrator and that he's got a lot of delusions going on.
Oh, yeah,
like the big one with the quote unquote girlfriend.
Yeah.
that turns out to not be real.
That is what bothered me in the beginning about that with like him after he does his first murder with the guys on the subway or the train.
How he just waltzes in and kisses her and everything.
After having just one conversation. And
Yeah.
at first I was like, okay, maybe she's just kind of, really thought he was
Didn't
attractive.
they go on at least a date
they
or something
hadn't
before
No,
that?
they went on the date
anything.
afterwards, or the date.
We we hadn't seen her
Because she went to the comedy club.
That didn't happen yet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
it
hadn't
did.
happened yet.
No, it didn't. No.
Because he doesn't do the murder until after the scene where he's like his tape is being played on the variety show and everything.
No,
No,
'cause
he does it before
he sees
that,
the
I'm pretty
variety show
sure.
in the hospital.
Yeah, with his
His
mom.
mom had already been questioned about. Yeah, because his mom was put in the hospital because the detectives questioned her about the murders and stuff.
And
And then they came to the hospital and talked to him. So the murder had already happened. Yeah.
yeah.
And then, it hadn't happened yet.
Can we talk about like how great that murder scene was though?
It kind of went exactly how I thought it was going to go.
Well, it's less a murder scene and more of a self-defense scene.
Yeah, true.
Was it?
Because they're beating the hell out of him.
But-
from what we've seen, like it could be another delusion.
But again, so just because you have a gun doesn't mean you have to use it.
sure.
Waving
why I
a gun
said
around is very
It's
powerful in
self-defense
itself.
up until
Yeah,
the
he
moment
also
where he
didn't have to shoot
chases
that
the
guy
other
in the
guy
head.
down to shoot him outside of the
I
train.
think it's more crossing the line after he shoots the second guy.
I mean,
Well, don't you think a first shot to the head is a little unnecessary?
Yeah, even that is like a shot to the leg. Like the thing
like
is that
one
he
shot
he
to like
just,
a leg, and his friends would have understood.
he's
like,
just
back the fuck
scared, and he just flings it out wildly. And I think the first shot to the head is accidental because if I think back, he's like cowering and kind of just shoots.
off. No, I don't. I think he just like kind of whips it out.
Yeah, but again, he's not like looking. I
Right.
think the headshot is kind of just.
even with the first guy
accidental
dead, there's still two dudes against you, and they were kicking the shit out of you before. I mean, would you give them the chance
that
to get the
first
gun
shot
away from you?
Seriously
And
scared the fuck out of them. They
No, of
were
course it
running
did.
away after the first guy got shot.
the second guy wasn't running away.
No,
One of
yeah,
them
He was like, oh
one
my
of-
god!
Yeah,
ah!"
yeah,
he was
like-
about to
he
run
was
away, but he was
fucking
kind of like
leaned
backed
back.
up against the
he
door.
was scared. So
First two are self-defense.
no, fucking
It
crazy.
goes
man.
wild when he chases the other guy down.
You're crazy.
and
That
then
is.
shoots him once as
No,
he runs
no,
away
man.
because one of them
That second
starts
one
running
is
away. and he
definitely
shoots.
murder.
I will
'cause that-
say that he flung the first one wildly. The shot to the head was an accident thing, but he saw he kind of
Actually,
liked
but-
it. He
so this
kind
goes
of
back to
liked
the
it, and
delusions
that's when he
thing.
just goes bang, shoots
Because
the other guy.
we don't even know that it happened the way that we saw it, only because
I think
first
they-
off, how do you
I think they clearly
how do you
showed what
swing
was
a gun
delusions
and
and
hysterically pop a headshot if you're not someone who's used to using
I
firearms?
fucking do it all the time at Apex.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah,
Like,
like video
no,
games
like-
with your auto aim turned on your
it's-
PS4.
I mean, I can't remember the scene perfectly, so I don't remember where he was actually looking. But I think he just kind of whips it out in a frantic
I don't even think
hysteria.
we don't see him whip out the gun. He's just already like one of them gets shot, and then we cut to him, and he's got a gun.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you see him kind of like wrestle with it, and then he like fucking just
No,
pulls-
because they're kicking the
Well,
shit out
we
of him
have
off the
to-
ground.
It just because it's all dark, and then you see like the flash, and then the headshot. And
That's
the
why
blood
it was
go
so
back.
like, because like
Okay.
everyone in the theater forgot about that fucking gun.
Oh, yeah, dude, for sure.
I knew that,
That
he
shit
was
got
either
me.
going to pull it out or shoot somebody. That was obviously like that's
so
why.
this is what I mean with about the delusions, though, because we find out later in the movie when this big thing happens. Who knows how deluded he was? I think he might have still been on medication at that point in the film, but I can't remember.
Yeah, that's why I'm pretty
the
sure. like,
timeline gets like weird.
So that would kind of be that would be cut by the fact that he immediately goes and fucks that girl, which is a complete delusion.
Yeah,
So-
we know that is. Yeah,
Yeah, well, that's immediately after.
but
though.
we've seen other delusions too, usually involving her. But I'm saying if we saw that delusion, then could the kids jump? Why would like the teenagers jumping in the beginning of the movie? Could that not also be a delusion of some sort?
No, because I think they kind of clearly show what's a delusion and what's not. I think.
Well, how can it be a
she is-
delusion when the guy he works with hands him is the reason he has the gun?
I think she is specifically.
I'm not saying the delusion was that he didn't actually get beat up by these people and shot those people. The
He's talking
delusion
about
could
the
be
kids with the sign.
Maybe he didn't wait for them to beat him up,
before
just shooting them dead.
That doesn't make sense.
and then there's plenty of other things too, where it's like at the end when he's being arrested and they're driving through Gotham and the whole city's freaking out.
Yeah.
Doesn't that seem a little more dramatic maybe than
No.
it might have actually been?
no, not at all.
Because
I
he
think
could be
that was
deluded into thinking.
I think that was 100% exactly how the end of it went. I
Yeah.
think he had his followers. They knew that was him specifically because they saw it. It was all broadcast, and
sure.
that was the birth of Joker. Right
I'm just
there.
saying that in general, like it establishes delusions of grandeur in a very powerful way. I don't know that they would have to necessarily spell out what is and isn't a
because
delusion.
the
after
delusions of grandeur are very specific in the fact that the girl is for comfort with his mom because he can't cope with the fact that she's dying. And it's a lot of she's like a very specific delusion. That's why like she's kind of the only delusion. Like
that. And that's
there
one
really
thing
aren't other ones.
That's
like,
one thing I didn't like about that reveal too, is they tried to do like the Fight Club method
Yeah,
of like
kinda.
showing how he was alone the whole time. And
But
I'm
I
like,
think they did it good by having him like sneak into her house and her being freaked out.
oh no, that part's fine. But the
But-
second that she's like, why are you in here?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
like, oh, you're the
that
guy from
that
down the
lived
hall.
Yeah.
That's all you had to say, because everyone realized at that point, and then they have to do.
I don't know.
For all the dumb people in the audience, they have to show a couple of flashbacks or whatever.
Sure.
I think that part wasn't done completely perfectly.
Yeah.
But even if they only showed us specific delusions, I could still be. I'm not like convinced that this is the thing. I just think it's interesting to look at the movie from that perspective, where maybe
I think you're reaching.
there were other things that can be kind of ambiguous after you see that. Because again, once you and especially
I think his
you
medicine
take it
was
from
too
the overall
strong
meta
at that
idea
point.
that like the Joker in general has a bunch of different origin stories, that this is just a one version of a telling. This whole movie could have been him in Arkham Asylum telling his
Oh,
psychiatrist
come
at the
on.
end and coming to his own realization that like maybe it's a delusion of grandeur where he's convinced himself he created the Batman.
So you think
'Cause, I mean,
you think the whole movie was him like telling
not the whole movie.
himself a joke, and that at the end she was like, "What's so funny?" He was like, "Oh, you wouldn't get it." And the joke was
The joke is that he made
joke was
Batman.
the fucking movie.
the joke is that he created Batman, who probably was the one who actually put him into Arkham, because at the end he's got like gray hair and stuff. He's clearly a lot older
No.
than he was when he was.
No,
I didn't notice that.
I don't think that's true. Yeah,
We'll rewatch.
Yeah, we have
see
to rewatch.
reasons enough to rewatch the
But
film.
I would like to bring up
This is the kind of thing where you pick up things like that now with the new eyes of knowing that like
I think you're reaching.
some of these things are delusional.
But
Like, I'm not saying it's actually what
I
happened.
do
I like thinking
bring
about
up
those things.
the
though.
Batman and the Bruce Wayne aspect of this movie a little
Yeah.
bit, because it's a it is there. Bruce is in there, man. He's
He
fucking
does.
in there.
He has a weird scene.
He
with,
does have
Joaquin.
a weird.
I read this
Fucking
great
just
comment on
puts his
Reddit.
fingers
fucking
in his
awkward,
mouth
dude.
and makes him
Someone was
smile.
like,
God.
why didn't the Batman in this universe become the Clown Man? Because he's clearly been traumatized by clowns at this point in his life.
Fucking like.
And somebody they like repurposed the quote from Batman Begins, where he's like talking to Alfred. He's like, it's time my enemies share my dread, and then throws a whoopee cushion or something instead of the batarang.
Yeah.
So there is a twisty twist of where Bruce is the Joker's half brother.
But it's not a real twist.
Right. It is a
Or
fake,
is it?
or is it?
Whoa.
And that is actually what I want to segue into. There is a point at the slight before the climaxing and stuff like that, when I think he's preparing for the interview.
Climaxing.
Yeah. He finds a picture of his mother when she is younger. And on the back of the photo, it says something like, I love to see your smile, or
Or love that smile.
I love that
TW.
smile. And it's from Thomas Wayne.
Well, it just says TW.
Fuck you.
And we haven't seen his like
Fuck.
handwriting or
No,
autograph.
fuck you.
I
That's
just
true.
think you're reaching.
I think you're full of shit, and you just my ideas are just better. So I want to know if maybe that whole thing about Thomas Wayne and his mom was just like bullshit, or at the point when she's like, no, he covered it up and blah, 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 blah. Did fucking Thomas Wayne actually cover this shit up because he was embarrassed about it?
I do really like the
I do
portrayal
too.
of Thomas Wayne in this, because it's funny. I know I'm the only one who played in these fucking games, but Telltale's Batman game that they did a very similar
Where he's bad, right?
recharacterization of Thomas Wayne. Well, it's not that he's bad so much.
He
It's
had
just
to
that
do
he's got
bad-
skeleton in his closet.
He had to do
and
some bad things to make
it makes the
good
point that
stuff.
or his parents died so young that Bruce, of course, is still idolizing his parents at this point. But as an adult, you can look at the situation and be like, well, no one gets to become the richest man in a city by being the peak of morality.
He was
the whole
also
time.
going to run for mayor or governor.
Something like that.
So,
Yeah.
he's
mayor, I think.
politically connected.
Yeah,
a lot
but
of that
in-
comes with corruption.
in those
So,
Telltale games, it's similar stuff where it's like maybe they weren't like these bright shining knights that he idealized them as, and that he finds out there are darker things as far as them like putting political opponents into Arkham Hospital and stuff. And
I
things
like
like
that. Like,
So I like the way that they played with our idea
Yeah.
of who Thomas Wayne is,
because after the
in
whole
this one.
conversation with him, it's like, oh, okay, like that was just another trick. You know, they were just trying to fool you with that to distract you from this other shit. That was all made up. It's not. It's just a delusion from the lady. But then they that picture pops up and he's looking at it. Nothing in this movie is a mistake. Like everything has an intent with this movie. That's just the kind of movie it is.
Like I said, it could still be a delusion that he's having.
It could be a
he could flip over
delusion.
that picture. It could say nothing.
So that again, that's the point in the movie where I think the delusions have stopped because he's come to realize that the girl stuff he made up himself, and I think he's stopped deluding himself and he's become, who he really is.
I mean, maybe
But-
it just depends on who's he trying
Yes.
to delude if
But
he
it-
wants to keep doing it.
But at the same
which
time,
is why I like the idea that he's telling a story to this new psychiatrist at Arkham Hospital.
Sure. But I
And
do.
did we decide we think that he murdered him?
She definitely
murdered her.
He definitely murders her.
I think he murders the girlfriend too. Honestly,
or does something really
girlfriend.
bad.
the
right,
deluded
right.
girlfriend or
You
whatever.
think really?
Yeah,
No,
because
I don't think he does.
I took it as it was implied that he kills her too, because the next time we see a scene around that apartment, there's like police there and ambulances and stuff.
Maybe I missed that one.
Oh.
Yeah, like
Maybe
they're-
I missed
like,
that. I don't know.
He's in that area, or I can't remember. It's him leaving the apartment in the next scene or something. But there's like
Police
law
there.
enforcement.
Yeah.
and
Wasn't that-
an ambulance
something
there,
happened?
like
Was
something
that?
happened,
But was
yeah.
that the day he left for the show because of all the protesting going on?
No, it's like not long after. It's another scene not long after he that scene with her.
I don't remember seeing that, but I mean, if that's there, I mean, that's cool. That's a good call. That's one of
Yeah,
those.
I
One of
think
those
so.
small little.
That's why the more I kept thinking about this movie, I'm thinking like, fuck, maybe I do want to watch this again, just because.
There's really no reason to believe that he wouldn't, because he killed his mom before that already, right?
Sure, but we'd seen a few times, at least in ways that he's convinced himself that he's killing people that either deserve to die or like bad
It's not
people.
about that. I'm just saying he had already killed, like, in
Yeah,
confidence already.
Yeah, he killed his mom.
Yeah,
but he killed his mom because he found out that she'd fucking stood by while her husband
Beat the shit out of him
like
and tied him to a
tortured
radiator.
him as a child.
Yeah.
yeah, there was a, but like,
And again, you think of the thing where in the beginning of the film, he's crying as he's got makeup on. He's like forcing himself to smile and stuff. And the whole deluded laughter thing is because she's watching her child get tied up to a radiator and beaten.
Well,
and it's like forcing him to smile afterwards.
I think
like,
the medical condition where like the laughter is that's the thing that caused her to not like realize, but also her own mental issue.
it could be a coping mechanism for sure, but it could be that she was making
No.
she's crazy and
Right.
she's
But
convincing him that he's happy.
So when he was getting beat and like abused, he was laughing because his brain couldn't process the abuse and it was just a mental defect. So in his mother's deluded mind, she heard the laughter and didn't put together the abuse because she says, but he was always such a happy child.
Well,
and I'm wondering if that's because he was
I don't think
always
she didn't put it together.
Well, she had her own issues.
Because again, she was
beginning-
arrested because they found out that she was there while this was happening.
But if you look at her when she's in the room with the doctor, she's also beat the shit up.
Yeah.
So like she was getting her own shit kicked in.
Yeah.
And it's when those situations with those characters, they sometimes disassociate with outside stuff. So the happy laughter could be displayed as like, oh, nothing's going on. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Because she's in that state of mind. But in reality, the laughter is just a coping mechanism for what's his name? Arthur. Yeah, as a child.
Yeah.
And that just, goes with him. Or the abuse could honestly have fucking developed the laughter thing. Like, we don't know.
See, my interpretation was that he'd get the shit beat out of him, and then she'd go up to him afterwards and force him to smile. And then eventually that was something that he picked up on his own later.
I thought that was more
because it seemed like this was going on for years.
See, I thought that was more of like he was doing that because he was like being a clown and the unhappy and the happy face masks. So he was just like doing that. I don't know really. Like that's what I got from that was the two reverse of the theater masks. Because like
that's part of it.
Drama and comedy.
I thought it was clear that it was just the
Tragedy
pain of him
plus
forcing
comedy.
himself to
I guess, but we
to
never
smile.
see her like do that to him. So I don't know why we just assume that she would do that.
No, I know.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I think I like both of y'all's theories on that.
Yeah, maybe both. Maybe she
And
did
that's
both.
part of what I like about it is because it's not as heavy handed with the
There's a lot
the
left
exposition
to-
and the
yeah.
like your typical Marvel film where it's just like there's nothing to interpret. Like such and such happened. Like this is the way the
Time
story
travel
goes.
works this way.
This is our canon. Yeah, blah blah. Whereas this is very much, and it fits so well with the mythology of the Joker that it makes sense that he ends up being an unreliable narrator. That he either is
I don't
actually
think he's-
truly
but
deluded
see,
or he's
you act
convincing
as
people.
if he's intentionally misleading. I
No,
think
unreliable just means when unreliable narrator
I
is
get
a trope.
it. I just feel like
writing.
I feel like it's more of just like he doesn't know, so how could he tell us the real thing?
It could be either or. That's what I'm saying. Because I mean, it fits in with what we know of the Joker in general. Just that, like, not necessarily this Joker specifically, but just
But
the
that's the
overarching.
thing. But
Joker.
that's the thing about it. This Joker is very specifically because he's not the Joker yet until the final scenes. He's Arthur Flick. So him like being intentionally, maniacal or
Look,
mischievous, that doesn't work for Arthur
I'm
Flick
just not
until
I'm
he
just
transforms.
not as trusting as you are when it comes to these things.
You have
Once
to.
I've been told one time
have
that
to
something I saw
think
happen
of
didn't
yourself-
really happen.
Think of yourself from the
could be
director's
anything.
point of view, trying to tell a story.
I think the director's point of view is he wants to leave things unambiguous.
I don't think that's true. I
Or
think a lot of
ambiguous.
the stuff he put in there was very intentional, and he had a clear message he was trying to portray.
That's not what I'm saying. The message is clear. I'm saying the things that happen within the story, as far as like
I think certain things can
if we were
be
to make-
interpreted,
if we were to develop a canon,
but I think other things are just kind of
yeah,
you're thinking too much about it. I think what he did was clear, and yeah. But go ahead with your crazy ideas.
I like my crazy ideas. Keeps things interesting. Gives you a reason to watch a movie more than once.
And also, I want to bring back to the fact that at the end of this movie, it does end up being the start of a Batman origin story. It goes from a Joker origin directly into Batman origin story.
Well, a Joker told origin story.
Whatever, you know what I'm saying.
Again.
It's an
Unreliable narrator.
I don't believe him. I don't believe
but
any
you
of it.
have no reason to not believe Arthur Flick because he's taking drugs. Thank you.
But he's still crazy, regardless.
But that's what the drugs are for.
He was just two different kinds of crazy.
Whatever.
He was a drugged up crazy, and now he's a sober crazy. He's still always crazy. He's still the Joker. It's like the whole story with Batman and Bruce Wayne. Which one's the mask? Is he always Batman now and he puts on the mask of Bruce Wayne? Is Joker, has he always been the Joker,
he's
but he was
Batman,
wearing the
and
mask of Arthur?
He puts on the mask of Bruce Wayne. We all know that.
And I think, and with the Joker historically being a foil to Batman, I think it works both ways. I think the Joker's always been the Joker.
No, because they're both the same thing. That's the whole dynamic, is that bad thing happen both to them. One go bad, the other go good. One rises up, the other one can't handle it and goes insane. Like that's
they both went insane.
Yeah, okay, true. Yes, but one goes the positive way and the other one goes the more deadly way.
I mean, it depends on how positive, because that's the whole conflict with Batman being a
what
vigilante.
I'm trying to say.
I know what you're trying
Stop
to say.
arguing semantics.
No, I mean, I'm not trying to argue
I'm just
semantics.
saying he doesn't become the Joker until ultimately I would say I think he really snaps like the fact when he kills his mom. Like when he comes to terms with the fact that the most trusted person that he knew was actually lying to him. It really was just like, well, there's no fucking reason to keep Arthur Flick around.
Has he been the Joker the whole time, and he's just sobered up around then? Because like I said, we don't know what ended him up in the hospital the first time. We don't know what thing he could have done.
You just love for them to expand on the fact that he maybe had done some homicide years ago that
I'm going to
ended
use
him
your
up.
own words. There's nothing in this movie that there's not a point to or something, that it's all intentional.
Yeah.
Why would they have introduced the fact that he had previously been in Arkham Asylum, the Arkham Hospital or whatever?
Yeah, because I don't think it's become Arkham Asylum yet, has it?
I'm not sure, but
I don't remember the words they use.
Because I think Arkham Asylum I think is something that happens later
with
on
the Waynes. But because the
at least again from what we know of other Batman
the
stories.
hospital that they're at is like Arkham's like state or city hospital
something like
or
that,
something.
Yeah. But we don't know what landed him there.
Sure, yeah.
And especially if it's like an insanity plea or something, and you could be like, oh, well, sure, maybe he murdered, or maybe he didn't murder him, but maybe he came close to hurting somebody or hurting himself.
And fuck that bitch on the train.
The rest of the time.
Her little kid was looking at him. Sorry.
Yeah,
she's
she's
a bus.
But he's also a crazy person. I was just mad she didn't give the card back.
Yeah, I was thinking about that as well.
We don't know because he reaches for a card later on, but he can't.
He might have more than one.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Because there's a lot of people that don't give the card back.
The one that he gave back to, or the one
that would suck to have to go get a new card Xerox printed every single time.
He's probably got more at his house. But the one that he gave her was like very crumpled and kind of like bent and stuff. So yeah, probably gets given back to.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it will be incredibly interesting if they do a sequel. Mm-hmm. Just because
they have to keep going with where they were going.
Yeah, and so maybe some of these questions get answered.
Maybe.
I don't know where they'd go with it other than
you have to bring in Batman. That's what I'm saying. Like the farther you go, the older he gets. At some point, you have to introduce a Dark Knight.
Yeah,
like you can't have one without the other.
And I hope I can find a screenshot. I'm sure someone's taken that picture or shown that scene on Twitter or something. The end when he's talking to the social worker, the new one in the hospital, he clearly murders her and then breaks out.
He obviously murders her or injures her severely.
But
no, he fucking murders her.
He's got he's aged a lot.
Out,
he's got like gray hairs and stuff that he didn't have before.
I don't remember him having gray hair. I remember
it's not like
I remember him
gray hair.
smoking.
Yeah.
Or actually, wait, maybe I do remember him having something on his hair, and I thought it might just be like paint for some reason.
He's aged a lot.
Maybe that's true.
Yeah. And I think that's what's funny too is that I think that's the point where it's like, by that point, this is not because it's the way it's edited is that he goes straight from the cop car. He has this little moment in the city, and then eventually gets caught again or something, and is put in the hospital. Whereas the thing really. This is Batman. We have
no idea.
Yeah, at some point, Batman is just. This is another instance where he puts Joker in here.
Maybe.
Although at that point, I don't know.
Maybe
even that doesn't quite fit because you'd think at that point they'd officially have him in like lock up with cuffs. Like he wouldn't just be sitting and talking to a shrink.
Maybe at that point again, he's not the Joker.
They've drugged him up enough that
he's just a wild guy acting on his impulses. And then, because like there are iterations where the Joker is just a bad criminal, and then he has like the Ace Chemical accident, the shit with another Joker thing that happens to him, where he turns and gets disformed or dismembered into, like a facial thing. So, and that like his, getting cut off, whatever, and that turns him into the actual like villain against Batman. So
I do think this whole discussion just kind of goes again reinforces the idea that this is really something different compared to what we've seen from.
It's good. Like it was
these types of movies.
It was thoughtful.
Yeah.
Like this wasn't just another, hey, let's try to be better than the MCU. Like,
this is like acting like that never even happened.
Yeah,
like,
and that's
this
why
honestly could have been like just like completely unrelated to
standalone
comics. Like,
it's just a great Joker story. Like,
yeah,
it's just good. It was really good.
Yep.
I'm glad you liked it, Drew.
I did enjoy it.
What's your crazy theory? You
I don't have a crazy theory.
No, it was like movie good. Wished I had popcorn. But movie
I don't
good.
know. You guys have been.
I've thought about this.
Given Drew a lot to think about.
But this movie hit relevant to me because I was just like, man, I have bad fucking days all the time. I'm gonna go kill Robert De Niro.
Right.
Like, that was my thing. That was my joke I made to Travis throughout the whole movie. Was like every time somebody did something slightly bad to him, I was just like, he should kill that guy.
Oh yeah, he
because
kept turning over to me
that's
like,
like, is that your reaction to everything? Like, you just can't go around doing that. So, you know, like, some kid stole your sign. Don't fucking chase after him.
They broke a sign.
Because he chased.
Maybe he really did just steal the sign.
Why
would I steal a sign?
Just give it back.
I related to that scene more than any other scene in the rest of the film. We've had that one dumbass just be like, you clearly did this really stupid thing that like no one would do, not offering any other solutions. Just like, why would I steal the sign?
Can we talk about the best comedic timing in the movie at the end when the
scene in his apartment,
his clown friends are in the apartment with him, giving him
the
some
guy that
consolations.
sold him the gun or gave him the gun.
Oh my fucking god!
And then got him fired essentially.
Yes.
Well, he got himself fired because he took a gun to the hospital, which is insane.
Children's hospital.
That's a great
That
scene.
was another dark comedy
good
moment. That one, when that scene, the gun dropped up, I heard everyone go,
that was because you expected.
This guy's insane. Why would he bring a gun to this
You're
hospital?
totally right.
Because 75%, I think, expected it to just go off after it hit the floor.
Oh yeah, I was so scared.
But
the
it
gun
never
was gonna
did, and
go
then
off.
he just fumbles with it, and it's fucking just awkward.
Yeah.
That was another really good one. Yes.
Yeah.
But his friends are consoling him with liquor or something, and
They brought over scotch.
Yeah,
or
whatever.
Well, it's
some
also
shit,
because the guy that gave him the gun, the cops are questioning him now for the murders.
and he's like concerned
yeah.
about his own skin, and he's just
Slime ball.
He fucking stabs him and slits his throat and
Honestly,
shit.
I thought he came over to kill Joker.
Really?
Or Arthur.
Yeah, I thought there was going to be
I
some
really
kind
thought
of
he showed up to
confrontation like that,
yeah,
but
beat
no,
the hell
it
out of
was-
him, or
it was
or
a
trying to be
little-
like, hey, you better not fucking talk to
It was
these
a
cops
little-
or
If
Yeah,
something
that's
like
the
that.
case, he would bring better backup than the little person.
I guess that's true. Wow.
True.
Wow. Expensive.
Maybe he had the knife. He's
Hey.
down real low, can't stop him.
God
Yeah,
damn.
you know.
Cut the ankles.
Go for the Achilles.
Jesus.
Yeah, go for the Achilles heel.
the
Can't walk.
Achilles, yeah.
But so after he murders the guy that essentially framed him for having the gun
Which,
and
what
shit.
a brutal scene, just because of all the
It's so
build up we
personal.
had, and
Yeah, it's very tense in the house, and it's just like it could go either way. And then, true to Joker's like mentality, he just fucking.
I don't think it was an either way thing, because like the second he like goes to answer the door with the scissors,
Oh, we knew someone was going to
I was
die.
like, oh, he's going to stab
I
somebody.
honestly
Yeah.
didn't expect it to be his friends. I
What's the guy from
expected
It's Always Sunny? He's like, I can't remember the guy's name, but one of the McPoyles.
you ruined it.
And he tells somebody, so and so, stab somebody.
Oh, yeah.
Stabs himself. He's like, oh.
Stabs him in the arm with a fork.
Yeah.
But I expected it to be the cops or the detectives at his door. So that's why I thought he grabbed the scissors, was because he was gonna kill a cop.
Yeah.
But like the last two people I expected from that scene was his like semi friends. Like really, that scene took me by complete surprise. It's one of those scenes where it's not necessary. The movie could be fine without it, but it pulls so many things
I don't know.
together.
If I was going to cut anything, it would not be that
No,
scene, I
exactly.
think. Yeah.
It wouldn't be, because it pulls so much together and it ties everything into the next climax part of the finale.
And plus that creepy scene where he's like got his arms against the wall and he's like hunched forward, and he's
His
just got
shoulders
the
were
white
fucking
makeup on.
weird.
Yeah, I don't know
in
what's
this-
up with his shoulders.
and he
Is
kinda,
that
like,
is
looks
that
up
just
a little
Joaquin
bit.
Phoenix, or is
I
that
don't
like
know.
He's clearly very like lost a lot of weight for the
no?
role.
There was like something going on with like his shoulder
Yeah, his
blade.
shoulders were strange.
Well, I think it was
in
just
that
the way he
movie.
was positioning himself, and then how little weight he had on him.
Like, remember when he was like and doing the laces on his shoe.
Look, his shoulder somehow looked like lower than one or the other. Like it was fucking weird.
Yeah. I'm sure. Yeah, that's probably part of
what I was talking about, right?
Yeah,
He had like a hook hanging out of his fucking.
Yes,
I
dude.
think I know what you're talking about.
It was weird. Like, yeah, and
I don't think
got
he
it.
looks like that naturally. I think that's how he's
No,
like contorting his body because he's in that.
I think there was something there, but yeah, we get it. Joaquin Phoenix, you lost fucking weight for the Joker,
and it looks so much more gross just because of how skinny he got.
Yeah.
I guess put a shirt on. Like we get it. You lost.
No,
weight.
dude, that
Whatever.
just adds so much.
Yeah, that was crazy. But yeah, that moment where he's in the apartment, he's looking up at them, and his hair's all disheveled, and just the white face, like expressionless, and again is like doing that weird thing with his back, except now it's his chest, and you can see him like sucking it or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But that just look was like that was some like pure terror.
That's good, yeah. But like
from that performance,
so the big
right
guy
there.
is lying down on the ground, just bleeding out, and his little friend is just
He's
like
not bleeding out. He's crushed
He's
the guy's
fucking
skull
pretty
at this
dead.
point. 'cause
Okay. Oh,
he
yeah,
starts
he's fucking-
smashing his head into the
Against-
wall.
yeah.
He fucking what's the he fucking mantle stomps this dude.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
So his friend is just like, oh God, Arthur, oh what the fuck? When did he die? Like he's freaking out.
Yeah.
And like honestly, it's about 80% chance he's gonna kill this dude also. And in just pure
No, I don't think he was ever gonna kill. The little guy.
we don't know that for sure in that moment.
No, because the little guy never really.
You're right. He didn't do anything.
He never
You're right.
wronged
You're
Arthur.
right.
Yeah, like
But-
everything up to this
but
point
we
had been
don't-
someone who's wronged him.
Sure,
Yeah.
but we don't really know if it's because of that or if he's just nutso. So when he goes, he fucking walks towards the door, and Joaquin Phoenix is like, "Ah!"
Oh,
He
yeah.
scares the
Scares
fucking
him.
shit out of him.
Well, wait. So does he get up to the door first? Because that's when he walks up to the door, and then
No,
you
he's
see
like-
that
no,
no,
he's
he
done
walks
the lock.
past
He's
him
like
and then he
trying,
jumps
yeah,
out
he's
of
like
it.
trying
Okay.
to get past the big
I
guy,
can't
and,
remember he'd come
and
back
Arthur
at
is
that
still
point.
on the floor, and he's just like, "Ah!"
Yeah.
And he just fucking, it's so perfectly timed.
Oh no, yeah, and then
I don't
like
know if that was ad libbed, if that was just Joaquin Phoenix just like fucking going for it.
Yeah, I could
hope
imagine
that
that
was
being like
improv,
an
yeah.
ad lib thing, but
was so good.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
And then the
But I
part
also
where
love
he's
the doorknob. Yeah, where he goes.
Yeah, the camera pan to the what's that called? The
It's
chain
like a
lock
latch.
or
chain
whatever.
lock,
It's a
Yeah.
latch, yeah.
The way the camera pans that, because I remember when like he opens the door and lets them in, and he locks that part specifically. I'm sitting here thinking, oh my god, I don't. And that this is what's funny too is one of the few things that was bothering me early on was the fact that like we know that the Joker again historically is supremely intelligent. Like that's why he's able to do what he does. Is like he can't beat Batman in a fight most of
Right.
the time. He's able to do the things he does because he's manipulating people and he can terrify you like
Yeah.
psychologically and stuff. And he's typically very intelligent. He's planning ahead,
Yeah.
all this stuff. And the whole time we're watching this, and I'm like, I don't really get that side of it. I could see him becoming a crazy person, but I'm not looking at like the things he's doing. Again, like chasing a group of teenagers for a sign that costs
Sure.
like $10 to
Yeah.
make or something. I'm not getting the intelligence, but that's one of the shots where like you think about it afterwards and you're like, oh my God, that's like if it was just to freak the shit out of this little dude and not necessarily because he thought he was going to kill him or something, but that's a moment, like that's a 3D chess move where he's like, ooh, I'm going to put this deadbolt up or this little bolt up because he's going to want to leave in a second. And
You're
like,
right, yeah,
And in
'cause-
case I decide whether or not I even want him to
Yes,
go.
because he probably did. That does go back to the fact where he may have known he was going to kill, but he had no way of knowing that his friends were going to be there. So the scissors,
like you
again,
said, it could have been cops
the
at the door.
scissors
He-
was just kind of precaution.
Yeah.
But that right there, that does lead you to believe that after he sees who it is,
Yeah.
he decides right then and there,
I'm gonna kill one of you. Yeah.
You're probably going to try to run away. Not if I lock this, you can't because of your size.
yeah.
That's part I missed. I didn't really notice that because I wasn't looking at fucking him locking the door because I was like, oh, he's gonna kill one of these dudes.
I was just one of those things I thought was so odd that like that said just like the deadbolt or
Sure.
something, but he let someone in and then
Sure,
'cause
yeah.
usually that's
Yeah.
for when
You're
keeping
right.
someone from getting in. He's locking someone in at that point. Just little small things like that where that's where at this point I think the medicine's worn off and stuff
Yes.
because
Yeah.
he's getting
And that's why I
the
don't think-
planning and the thinking.
That's
forward
why I
is
don't think
beginning.
the later part there's any delusions because he is thinking clear.
I
Right
know,
now.
and I know. Like I said, that whole part of me is just if you buy the idea
No,
that
that's good.
this is all a story he's telling to
That's
somebody
good.
else.
But yeah, you don't really get the intelligence part until like then, and then like kind of during the interview, you
Yeah.
kind of get glimpses of like like not intelligence, but like grasping just other concept of like where he's like, Murray, you're not a nice guy. You used me in a way. Murray, you used me and shit. So I don't need to die. You need to die.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. So we all like Joker, and you guys should go see Joker. It's a very surprisingly interesting film. Don't know that it's going to be for everybody.
Don't go see it by yourself.
Or go see it by yourself.
No, I don't think. I think go see with a friend.
Depends on the friend. Don't go see it with someone you've wronged recently. Maybe someone shorter than you.
Maybe.
But anyway, this was episode 19 of the Absent Minded Podcast. As always, you can find all of our episodes on absentmindedpodcast.com or your favorite platform of choice. You can also find our sideshow Absent Minded Watches, which we're about to record. We're going to talk about Resident Evil. That'll be live by the time you hear this episode as well, so be sure to listen to that one. On absentmindedpodcast.com, you can leave us a voice message with a question, comment, topic of discussion that we might play on the air. Or you can donate $1, $5, or $10 via the listener support program over there as well. And don't forget to follow us on all the social media platforms. Tell all your friends, your family, your landlord, your sister. That's family. Tell them all about Absent Minded Podcast. And we will see you guys again next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.